Hey guys, how are you all? Today we are back with another Blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto mission was undercover as the lover of every Kunoichi and Suna? If you enjoy this video, then please like, share and do comment. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. So let us start the story.
Hiruzen Sarutobi, the Sandaime Hokage, sat at his desk reading a report on a mission written and given to him by his most powerful and favorite Anbu. After a few seconds of skimming over the mission report, he sighed. So Kitsune, an A-rank assignation mission turned into an S-rank. Am I correct? Yes, Hokage-sama, a light, husky feminine voice confirmed. The Anbu was around 5'5", her blonde hair in a ponytail held high on her head. She looked to be in her late teens, early 20s. She was different from all the other Anbu in more ways than one. Her clothes were different from the standard uniform for starters. She had a long black trench coat on, but it wasn't all black. The bottom had dark orange flames around it. Under that she wore a black skirt, but like her trench coat it wasn't all black, the shorts under it were orange, but unless the skirt moved you couldn't see it. Under the shorts she had fishnet stockings going all the way down to her boots. Her boots stopped at her knees. She didn't like those sandals that Shinobi wore. The shirt was a type of tight armor, almost like a corset. She had long silky legs that many of her fellow Anbu, the perverts, had noticed. No one needs to name the one-eyed one. She had all the curves in the right places. Her hips were well proportional. Her were a decent size, not like the overly big ones Tsunade had. Yes, Kitsune knew and had seen all the Sannin. But that didn't mean they knew of her. She was a spy after all. She didn't have the vest the Anbu wore. She hated it, even if it offered protection. She wore a fishnet shirt underneath another one. The one on top was a tank top-like corset that was black and cut off just below her, something most of the men she killed were distracted by. She wore gloves, but you couldn't see them until she was hitting you with her fists. Then you were dead, or if she raised her hand to do something with it. The gloves were black, like the rest of her, but in the palm she had a symbol. It was a spiral. It was the symbol from her mother's family. It was on the back of her shirt as well. However, you couldn't see it because of the coat she wore. She had two swords strapped to her back, but no one could see them. They had a special seal on them that allowed only her to wield them, and concealed the swords until she needed them. She had the standard kunai pouch on her right leg. Inside of her coat, she had various pockets with scrolls in them. Her clothing as well as her methods to do missions was different from the rest of the Anbu. But it was what made her unique. It was why the Sandaime Hokage cared for her so much. That and the fact he trained and raised her himself, with the help of a few others of course. She was the legacy of the fourth Hokage, in more ways than one. Kitsune, I have another mission for you. The old man told her. Yes, Hokage-sama, the Anbu replied. He sighed. He hated it when she was in Anbu mode. She didn't joke around with him, or make fun of him. She wasn't any fun. You can take off your mask, Naru-chan. This mission is different than all the ones you have done so far. The girl nodded and checked around them to make sure no one was near or anything. Her identity was an SS class secret. When the Uzumaki knew no one was around, she took it off. Her eyes were startling blue. Every time the Hokage saw them, he immediately thought of sapphires, twin sapphires in her eyes. When she took off the mask, her very advanced henge reversed itself. She went from a late teen, early 20-year-old to a 12-year-old. Her rightful age, since her identity was a double S-class secret, she made a henge so powerful that with enough amount of chakra anyone could change their body structure. No one would know that they weren't who they looked like. It became a part of who she was when she was in Anbu mode. The Hokage prided himself in being able to read her so well, unlike everyone else. He could see that this last mission had taken a toll on her and she was tired. This new mission would give her time to rest. This is an A-ranked mission. I am warning you now that this may turn out to be an actual S-ranked mission, depending, of course, on how things develop. Sarutobi warned her. Naruto snorted. Please, old man, I have done many A and S-ranked missions over the years. This won't be any different. Who am I killing? The third Hokage had long grown over the guilt he felt when he heard her be so blasé about killing. He knew this was better than the life that she would have had. The life of being an orphan with no purpose, just waiting to get a break from a teacher or the villagers, and then being a weak ninja with no one to teach her? Yes, this was a better life. As far as I know of, you won't be killing anyone. But that may change. You will do as you see fit. Naruto blinked. Did he just give her the okay to do whatever she wanted? That had never happened, especially since she could remember that he once said he would only do that over his dead body. She just hoped that he didn't die after this mission was over. So what is the mission? Her voice was serious now. Or have you really gone senile in your old age? Giving me, the right away to do whatever the hell I want? Have you gone off your rocker, old man? Sarutobi laughed at her words. If he did ever die, he would miss her. I think I have been, as you put it, off my rocker, ever since I started teaching you. It gets worse every time we're together. Naruto only snorted. What could she say to that? It was true. Your mission will be one for a few months. You may end up going out of the village, too. But that depends on the turn of events, or the missions I assign you. That threw Naruto off course. She was receiving missions during a mission? That could only mean one thing. Yes, you have already figured it out, haven't you? You will be put on a team, a genin team to be exact. Your real mission will not start till the Chunin exams come up, but since we want no one to think anything out of the ordinary, you will be placed on one of the upcoming genin squads. Naruto nodded. It made sense. If the Hokage didn't say anything about joining early, she would have. We, unfortunately, have a spy in our midst. My mission is to kill the spy? Naruto said off-handedly, like it was nothing, and it was nothing. She had been killing people for years now. She had hardened herself against it. She was a well-trained tool. No, if you get the chance, just spy on the spy. We have information, little I might add, that says we will be attacked during the exams. So I want you to go undercover and check it out. It will be information gathering all the way. Listen to everything. Also, there is one more thing. You're not going to like it. Naruto became quiet for a few moments. There are a lot of things in my missions that I don't like, but I still carry them out, Hokage-sama. Her voice was soft, yet so serious. Her eyes became sad, as if she had seen so many terrors and horrible things in her short life. Another stab of guilt that cut through the old man at her words. He knew that this was still a better life for her. He had to keep telling himself that. You know of what happened with the Uchihas, correct? Naruto nodded and recited. Itachi Uchiha was sent in as a spy. When it was certain, 100% certain, that there was no way to stop the rebellion, then he was sent in on an S-class mission to kill them all. He got the Mangekyo Sharingan before the massacre. But he left one Uchiha alive, his little brother. Itachi then returned here and threatened you, the council, and Danzo. The soon-to-be missing ninja said that if Sasuke knew or was hurt, he would return and tell everyone of what he was ordered to do. Then he went to spy on the organization Akatsuki that are out for all the 9 Biju. If my assumptions are correct, no doubt Itachi will be sent after me. But they won't be able to catch me. I will be the last one. Naruto made sure to leave certain facts that were not really the Hokage's business. The information she kept to herself were for Itachi and his younger brother's ears only. The Sandaime Hokage nodded to all the information she told him. Of course she knew about that incident and other secret things about it as well. Besides the fact that she knew everything he knew, for he trusted her more than anyone, she was Itachi's partner after all. He was the only one in the Anbu who knew who she really was, her age, everything. They ended up being close friends. But she never did tell him what Itachi made her promise before he left. Her soon-to-be ex-partner made her promise to look after Sasuke. But what could she do? In short of telling him what Itachi forbade her to tell him, she could do nothing but watch him grow into a man who craved revenge with every ounce of his being. She would just watch. That was all she could really do at this point in time. She could help him here and there, for she knew deep inside, he was as lost as she was in that sea of loneliness. Naruto could help her comrade of pain. But just a little. She would not interfere too much. The blonde Anbu didn't want all this on her hands if something bad happened. Naru wondered if this was going to be a good idea, her on the younger Uchiha's team. For why else would the Hokage have brought up that clan and its past, if she wasn't going to be assigned to his team? Good, I don't have to tell you to keep that to yourself. He chuckled. I think Itachi would come back to kill you if you did. He could try. She gave him her fox grin. If you weren't her enemy, it was a nice grin. But it would turn wicked and scare you if she deemed you her enemy. Good, good. Now, tomorrow is when the genin, who just passed their exams, will be put into squads. I am putting you onto a team that will have 2 girls and 2 guys. One guy will be the Jonin, correct? Which one is it? She asked. Yes, you are right. It is Kakashi Hitaki. The old man said as he waited for her to blow up on him. Instead she just sighed. You realized, of course, because you're oh so smart in your old age, that we will pass the bell test, and no one on that team will get stronger with his help. Uchiha will be the only if it does happen. The third member will be useless. How will I get through the Chunin exam with that one? Sandame took in her words carefully. She did know Kakashi best, she did outrank him after all. She was his superior, his Anbu captain. Well, to be honest, she was in charge of all the Anbu. That reminded him, who will replace you for this mission? Naruto thought, temporary, what about what's-her-face? Crap, let me think. I shouldn't be that mean to her. She is a good shinobi. The blonde thought for a moment before the name returned to her. She remembered those on her team. Raba the rabbit was Yugo. Bunka the ox was Tenzo. Kiga the dog was Kakashi. And Nagoyako the weasel was Itachi, but he defected. She would have picked him, were he here. When Itachi first became an ANBU, they were partners. After she trained him and deemed him ready for Anbu life, she put him on her team as her second in command. Kakashi didn't like that, but once Itachi was gone, he got his place back. Kakashi wasn't Anbu again until he failed the upcoming Genin team, so he was out. That only left Raba or Bunka. Raba or Bunka, but since I think girls are better than guys, I pick Raba. I trust you will inform her? I have to sort out for this mission. The old Hokage approved of her choice. Well, he couldn't say anything about it, since she was solely in charge of Anbu. She would know her own team, right? Those 2 plus Kakashi had been on her team for years before Kakashi became a special Jonin. Now about the personality you will take over. My dear, being sarcastic and cynical will go and get you so far. She sighed, and her head banged into the wall that she was leaning against. Her long blonde hair pressed roughly into the wall with no care of how much these actions hurt her. Sometimes she liked to feel pain. Feeling pain meant that you were alive. And sometimes she wasn't sure she was alive. Loudmouth at times, will be okay? Outspoken as well? Not sure I can be loud, but I will not ever act like some stupid, loudmouth baka. That would surely kill me worse than those hunter ninjas mist sent after me once. They nearly got me. The Hokage raised an eyebrow. They what? Why didn't I hear about this? She laughed at him. What would you have done? Killed the pervert that distracted me? One day I swear I will sneak in that butthole's house, steal all his books, and burn them while he watched tied up in a chakra suppressant rope. The old man sighed as he watched her eyes glow evilly. That evil smirk didn't do anything for the look either. Sometimes he wondered what he made. At times she is a sadist girl who sticks to realism like glue on a stick. One who has to be sarcastic and cynical when it suits her. This girl is something else. And he created her. The old boy did he feel it, and he was only getting older. Man sometimes wondered if she ever tried the jutsu she found. The one that showed you what would have happened if you didn't take an important choice in your childhood. For her it would have been to grow up an outcast and wait till she was like 7 or 8 to start training as a ninja. Maybe that was why she hated certain kind of people. She hated what she would have become. That explained a lot for the old Hokage. His young apprentice's voice took the Hokage out of his thoughts. So tomorrow I start my mission that will take a few months, just until the Chunin exams, correct? She asked one final time to make sure she knew what was happening. Correct, but we have no idea what will happen during the Chunin exams. Something could come up and we could be in need of your powers on that team. She laughed at his words. I don't think you need a wind mistress or a seals mistress, or even my great skills at keeping someone with those cursed seals in check. Anko-chan taught me a lot, but I don't think Orochimaru will be in an invasion. He is still licking his wounds from being denied Itachi's body. She said as she thought about it. Holy cow. She balled her hand into a fist and slammed it into the wall. Her hand wasn't bleeding, but a few more smacks would break the skin. The wall did have a fist-like hole in it, though. What did you just figure out? Besides the fact that a cow cannot really be holy. All that intelligence we got from Itachi, that he got from Sasori, who got it from a spy, relayed the fact that Orochimaru has been continuing his forbidden techniques. Sandame Hokage sighed. I know he has been doing forbidden techniques. But until you have proof that what you just thought about is what will happen, then I don't want to hear it. You know how I am when it comes to Orochimaru. Naruto shut off then, and when Sarutobi figured it out a second later he knew it was too late. One thing she hated above all was being shot down. He had to remember that most of her suspicions saved his life as well as many in this village. She was used to, before she became a ninja, no one paying attention to her, thinking she was nothing but the beast sealed inside of her, that she wasn't worth anything, nor her opinions. And he just hurt her. Another stab of guilt consumed him. Thank you Hokage-sama for the mission. I will perform it to the best of my ability. If you excuse me, I need to get ready. I will inform Yugo of the new arrangement, she said with a voice too neutral, too devoid of emotion. She disappeared, only the wind was left behind. She left the Hokage wondering if she would be just like her father. Here 1 minute and gone like the wind the next. She knew what time the academy told its graduating genin to be there. She was early. She sat in the back of the room in the disguise of a boy. No one noticed her, she had a couple of jutsu and genjutsu in place so they wouldn't. It didn't help that she was sitting on the wall. There was a reason why she never really sat on a wall like this. It did wonders for her back and neck. Oh, that's good. I'm sarcastic to myself as well as everyone else. Ha, at least no one gets special treatment. She watched as the girls made a fool of themselves. Only one didn't, a Hyuga. Even though that Hyuga didn't fan over the Uchiha, who was doing his best to ignore the screaming fangirls, it didn't mean she was good. Naruto sighed, good Kunoichi were hard-pressed to find. It would be sad if any of these girls were on her team. But she was going to have one. She couldn't tell what was worse, the shy, weak Hyuga or a screaming fangirl. Her patience had almost expired, and she was about to kill those fangirls when the teacher came in. Once he came in everyone was quiet and took their seats. The blonde and pink-haired girls, who looked like rivals, sat next to Sasuke, who she knew didn't like that. She was on a team with Sasuke Uchiha. She wondered if he would remember her. In her adult form of course. But she looked just like it, just younger. He probably wouldn't remember. The emo kid probably blocked all memories involving Itachi from his mind. So deep was she in her thoughts she had almost missed her team being called out. Team 7 will be Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki. Of course she had to have the biggest fangirl on her team. It was always her luck, wasn't it? Her biggest challenge this mission wasn't finding the spy or stopping the attack. It was trying not to kill the fangirl. Excuse me Ruka-sensei, who is Naruto Uzumaki? We never had someone of that name in our class before. The pink-haired fangirl asked. She was Sakura. She had a red Chinese-type dress on, with her headband holding her hair in place above her big forehead. Her shoes were dark blue. Oh, how could Naruto forget the dark blue shorts underneath the dress? Well, her team's fashion sense wasn't really good. Looking at Sasuke, he had light gray shorts that went past his knees while standing up, but was above them while he sat. He had a dark blue shirt on that had the Uchiha fan on the back. His shoes were the same as Sakura's. But his headband was on his forehead. The Hite 8 does not belong on the forehead. So tacky. And the fangirl? How dare she use a symbol so important as something so stupid? She is a disgrace to the ninja name. A killing is in order. Of course she couldn't say anything. She had just grabbed something out of her closet. She had a purple shirt on, with black pants. Her Hite 8 was around her neck. It was either that or her arm. Her mind had learned to think quickly. One had to in life and death situations. Especially if their squad's life were in their hands. So when she stopped criticizing her team about clothes, the Chunin just started speaking once again, this time to answer the Pinkette's question. Iruka shrugged. I was told by Hokage-sama that she was tutored by some ninja here in the village for a few years. And now she was going to be put on a genin team. We were short one person for a full 3-man squad. Now, Team 8. Naruto stopped listening then. The other teams didn't matter to her. She knew the truth about teams and the exams. Every team was going to fail, except 3. And those 3 were already picked. There was the new Ino Shika Cho team for starters. Then the one the Hyuga girl was on with the Dog Boy and Bug Boy. Then there was her team. But, no one but the Hokage and Jonin instructors knew that. Well, Kakashi didn't, but the fact that she was on this team, meant that it was going to be passed. Her thoughts were interrupted by the Chunin teacher again. Go have lunch and be back in an hour. Then you will meet your Jonin teachers. Good luck, he said with slight tears in his eyes. It made Naruto almost want to puke. She would have left before now, before that disgusting display, but she wanted to know what this Uchiha was about. She watched him disappear as soon as lunch was announced. So he was a little fast now, was he? That little fangirl didn't have a chance in eating lunch with him. She probably thought it was a good opportunity since I wasn't there to butt in, as she would put it. Stupid idiot, I hate girls like her. Then kill her, Kit. Let's nod and say we will do it later. I will kill her in the near future. I just don't know when. Maybe if we are lucky during one of those fights with Akatsuki they will kill her. Ha, don't know why I didn't think of that sooner. Naruto waited till the last one left the room. Of course it was the lazy genius, before she jumped off the wall. But that lazy genius stopped in the doorway, he didn't leave completely. It seemed that she jumped down too soon. He looked back at her and tilted his head. He told his teammates to go on ahead, he would be with them shortly. I know you're there, he said calmly. She half expected the Nara to sigh after saying it and insert the trademark troublesome. Well, I know you're there, too, lazy. With that Naruto dropped all of the jutsu she had concealing herself. It was sad, she was using Genin level power and even the Chunin teacher didn't sense her. Yet, it was the lazy one that did. Interesting. The Nara took her in, his face showed that he was appraising her. Are you Uzumaki? She gave him the fox grin. Course, I'm surprised though. Genin level power and no one but the lazy genius senses me. How long, ponytail? You were in here before everyone else. It didn't help you were sitting on the wall behind me. Well, technically you were above me. She gave him a tiny smile. You're smart, too smart really for my tastes. I bet you will end up falling in love with an outgoing tomboyish girl who will hurt you all the time. My guess, you would say it was too troublesome to get out of the relationship. Shikamaru sighed as he leaned against the doorway. Probably. Naru shook her head and then she paused as she listened for a minute. I believe you need to go after that girl. She is about to molest the Uchiha. I don't think Big Boned Boy can stop her for long. Her new friend snorted. Save Uchiha? Isn't he your teammate? And she's yours. But if he can't save himself from a fangirl then he isn't worth my time. That's harsh. But it is too troublesome to go save them. Maybe I should just go sit down and wait for them to come back. Sleep time. Naruto gave a little laugh. Aren't you hungry? The Nara shrugged. Probably won't be anything left after Choji gets done. She shook her head. Here, she dropped a lunchbox on the desk he sat at. I'll go save our teammates. The Genin boy gave her an odd look. You're not going to eat it? The female spy gave him one in return. It won't take that long. I have my own to eat. She disappeared and was sitting on the roof, which was directly over the Nara's team, in a few seconds. Choji was losing grip on the blonde fangirl. Naruto noticed Sasuke was eating a rice ball in the window sill. How the hell did that blonde stalker find where he was sitting? Naruto thought as she jumped onto the ledge next to the window. Sasuke didn't look startled, she gave him some points. He had his emotions under control. Maybe this won't be so hard after all. What do you want? Uchiha asked in a cold, yet devoid of emotion, voice. Probably another damn fangirl. I swear I will kill them all someday. Naruto rolled her eyes. I'm just warning you about a rabid fangirl is to your left that's about to molest you. You might want to pick a new place to eat. Or at least make sure no one comes near you. Out of the corner of his eye, Sasuke saw Ino being held back by Choji. It seemed in her single-mindedness, she didn't see the girl next to him. So, the blonde girl was right. When he focused back on her, she was gone. She left him wondering who she was. She left him wondering a hell of a lot more than just whom she was. When she got back to the room, the Nara told her they had half an hour to eat. So they sat there eating, him in the seat on the end of where his team had sat before, and her on the desk. It was quiet. Naruto was used to the quiet, so she didn't say anything. It was the Nara that broke the silence. You're one of the first girls I have met that is quiet, but still cool. You're a little troublesome, but not as much as the fangirls. I hate fangirls. If I ever rule the world, I will kill them all. Nara laughed at that. I already know your name, mine's Shikamaru Nara. Naruto gave him a nod and looked at him again. You look like your father, without the scars, not to mention you're younger. You act just like him too. Shika took that in. You know my father? Naruto shrugged, not really. The ones who trained me did. And we just to talk about all the ninja in the village, the strong points, weakness, etc. It was a good way to train me to gather information. Also, it allowed me to become familiar with the older shinobi, in case something happened and I needed to speak with one. Shika nodded at her words. It did make sense. Do you know anything about the Jonin leaders? He asked. Naruto thought for a moment. Should she tell him? It wouldn't hurt. I don't think I'm supposed to tell anyone this, but not everyone will become genin. Only 3 teams will. Shika took that in too. So which teams? Are they already picked? Naruto gave him a grin. Of course they are. The Ino Shika Cho team shall live on. Troublesome, was all he said in reply. Then, as an afterthought, he asked, do you know my sensei too? Do you have to ask? It's Asuma Sarutobi. He smokes a lot, I got to warn you. Don't let me catch you picking up that habit, Shika. He's lazy, but not as much as you. I would advise that if you want to retire early from your ninja career, you should train more than he does you. The Chunin exams will be a bitch this year. Before they could say anything else, the bell rang and many of the genins rushed in. Shika expected her to disappear, but she didn't. She just kept on eating her lunch. Ino and Choji gave her weird looks but didn't say anything. They sat down on Shika's other side. After 5 minutes she was done. Are you done eating, Shika? He nodded. She grabbed his box and hers and walked to the front of the room. She threw it away. As she came back up to sit next to him, on the desk like she did before, she locked eyes with the Uchiha. She gave him a quick wink and walked on. Sakura was about to tell her off, but the Jonin started popping in. After 10 minutes there were 5 teams left. The Uchihas, Shikas, and 3 others that were going to fail. Finally, a man with a beard came in, and Naru gave Shika a nod. He got up and walked toward the Jonin before he called out what team he was picking up. Choji and Ino soon followed him. Once the other 3 teams were taken, it was only Team 7 left. Sakura started complaining about their sensei being late when Naruto told her to shut the hell up. Is that all you can do? Talk? You will die in your first real mission. I can't believe I am stuck on a team with a stupid weak fangirl. For your information, you can complain all you want about your Jonin being late, but it won't change anything. He won't be here for another 3 hours. So sleep, do something. Just don't, for my sanity's sake, talk. Okay. The Hokage told her not to be sarcastic or cynical, but she couldn't help it. That girl just demanded to be killed and struck down as hard as Naruto could do it. The Uchiha ignored his obviously shocked pink-haired teammate. He was getting tired of her too. Finally, some peace and quiet. Sasuke thought, but then he remembered the other girl in the room. The one who saved him from Ino. Though he knew she didn't save him, Uchihas didn't need saving, and shut Sakura up. He wondered if she talked as much as Sakura. But given that she just told Sakura off for talking, he didn't think so. Plus, she got along with Nara, and he was lazy and was known to not talk much. So maybe she was quiet. The girl sighed and walked to the end of the classroom. She went to the teacher's desk, grabbed some paper and a writing utensil and wrote a note. She then rolled it up and sealed it with one of the academy seals. She then proceeded to walk over to Sasuke. Uchiha, give this to the late Jonin. She was at the door before he spoke. Where are you going? Oh, that's hilarious. He didn't say, Uchihas aren't messengers, do it yourself. No, he asked me where I was going. Oh, Itachi would die if he heard this. Maybe I should tell him. It would be fun to see that stoic Uchiha expression crack. She didn't turn around. The roof. I don't want to be stuck in here for a few hours. The spy did go to the roof because she needed some place to think. Kakashi was always late for things that didn't matter. But when he was in her Anbu squad, he sure as hell wasn't late. After being late once, he got a beating so bad it put him in the hospital for a few weeks, and he was never late again. Just for her squad though. But if anyone mentioned her, then he would get pale. Of course, after beating him up, he just had to get some kind of fascination with her. She wondered what he would do if he found out she was a 12-year-old girl. Naruto knew what she would do. Laugh her ass off. Oh, that news would travel fast. The pervert of the village is in fact a pedophile. Too good, she would have to use that to tease him with later. Don't genin squads introduce themselves when they first meet? Perfect. She sat on the railing and looked up at the sky. Sometimes she liked the calm before the storm. But sometimes she just wanted the storm. But now? She finally had rest. She finally had her calm. But she knew her calm would soon bring the storm. And she craved it. One of the things she loved about nature was the rain. It explained everything about her life. All the different ways to describe it could describe her. Of course there were the nights of the full moon too. She loved those too. The moon and the rain. They went so perfectly together to her. Before she could go on about the similarities and how they go together, she felt someone coming. When Naruto thought of Kakashi in her mind, she always called him Doggy, for his mask was a dog, even though they had code names. Doggy's back and he has brought me a raven and a cherry. Tisk, tisk Doggy. I know I taught you better than that. Yo. Naruto refrained from rolling her eyes. She didn't turn around to look at them. You're late, Kakashi. Something about her struck the Jonin. It was like he knew her. But he told himself it had to be from before, from when she was little. The Hokage had Anbu track and protect her from the villagers when she was little. Kakashi had to do it for a few months and then he switched with Tenzo and Yugo. Then after she was 6, his superior, the luscious, not to mention curvy, Kitsune did it for them. It must have been that. Nice kitty. Can you come down here and sit next to your teammates? He asked her. She got off of the railing and sat down as she was told. But when she looked at him, if only looks or glares, for it was a toned-down death glare she gave him, could kill. It seems the kitty has claws. Kakashi mused to himself, unaware that he had spoken aloud. Sakura rolled her eyes, and Sasuke didn't respond at all. Okay, let's start. Tell me about yourselves. Your likes, dislikes, hobbies, dreams, all that good stuff. Sakura looked uncomfortable. Can you give us an example, Kakashi-sensei? Kakashi, one visible eye turned into an upside-down crescent. Course, Sakura. My name is Kakashi Hitaki. I like things as well as dislike stuff. My hobbies are my own business, as well as my dreams. Your turn, Pinky. Sakura's sweat dropped. All we learned was his name. Naruto chuckled inside. Good job, Doggy. Don't give information that could lead to your destruction to people you don't know. Sakura took a breath. Naruto tuned her out. She wasn't worth listening to. But she knew when Sakura was done that Sasuke really ignored her and Kakashi deemed her a basket case. Or something close to it. Now you, emo kid. Sasuke chose to roll his eyes at his new sensei. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I don't have very many likes or dislikes. My hobby is to get stronger. I have a dream, no an ambition. I will kill that one man and then restore my clan. Nothing will stop me. Both Naruto and Kakashi thought the same thing. Someone grew up on the wrong side of life. Your turn, kitty. I have many names, so guess if you want. My likes do not matter in the real world. My dislikes don't either, even though fangirls, emo moody revenge-driven boys, and perverts make me want to kill someone. Her teammates twitched. Hobbies, Kakashi, you aren't some sick pervert who wants to stalk or do bad things to his students, are you? She gave him a curious look. He almost fell off the rail he had occupied when the kitty got off of it. Sasuke was so shocked that he showed it. Sakura actually face faulted from her shock. It fulfilled its purpose. She had said too many things about herself. She revealed too much. How was she supposed to explain how she was that mature at age 12? She couldn't tell them that she was the best Anbu ninja Konoha had, and had been for years. So she played on this distraction. It worked. A true shinobi would see underneath the underneath. Nay, Kakashi, is it true? The kitty with big claws pressed. Kakashi shook his head, a sweat drop on his head. Why would I be a pervert, kitty? Plus, you guys are a little too young for me. Naruto shrugged her shoulders at him. You're the pervert, you tell me. Anyway, are we done? This has gotten boring. Kakashi's sweat dropped again. She said that this was boring? He was going to have to keep an eye on her. Great, I have a loud fangirl, a revenge moody emo kid, and a mature little kitty who has too many claws. Nothing will be boring though, but pain, yes. Just that I want to inform you all that tomorrow you will be doing a survival test. Before Sakura could question the man, Naruto covered her mouth with one hand and used the other to tell the Jonin to go on. Kakashi sighed in relief. I know you did this type of stuff in the academy, but this is different. Anyway, come at 6 am sharp, and don't eat breakfast or you'll puke. And he was gone. Naruto took her hand off Saruka's mouth and stood up. I would advise you 2 things for tomorrow. 1. Eat breakfast, because you're really going to need it. She didn't, but that was because she had undergone training about not eating before. Why? Sensei told us not to. Sakura said hotly, she wasn't going to disobey her sensei like that. What if he kicked her off the team with Sasuke because of it? Naruto raised her eyebrows. There will be times when you are a ninja that you have to disobey your superiors. Sometimes it will save lives. Sometimes it will get the job done. Other times it will get people killed. Plus, do you really want to do a test with a Jonin that could cost us our status as genin, just because you don't want to eat? Naruto questioned her. Sakura didn't say anything, so Naruto went on to the second form of advice. You might want to sleep in and arrive at least 2 hours late. Kakashi probably won't get there till 10 or 11. You will need all the sleep you can get. Until tomorrow, guys, she said. Naruto walked over to the rail and jumped onto it. Then she jumped off of it to the building in front of them. And she was gone. She had things to do before tomorrow. And hanging out with little kids was not what she wanted to do. Especially since one of them would probably get killed in the field. During the night, she couldn't sleep. The moon wasn't out, nor was it raining. There was no chance of getting to sleep. She was also a little afraid. Sometimes she couldn't stop the nightmares. For a few hours she talked to Kyuubi. He understood her nightmares, he was there, and he had seen the things she had done. She would never tell anyone else her secrets. Only Kyuubi understood her, for he had killed many and done things he regretted. She knew the truth about what happened 12 years ago. Madara Uchiha had summoned him. She knew lots of things, but most of those things she never told the Hokage. Like the rumor going around that snake Teme could change bodies? She never told him, and she almost slipped yesterday. That old man was in denial. And he was going to die because of it. She and everyone on her team could see it, but being the good shinobi they were, they said nothing. There were only two places that could calm her restless soul. The Hokage faces on the mountain and the memorial stone. She chose the latter. She understood why Kakashi was late to everything. She had sat in front of it for hours on end thinking about the names, the people, that were carved on it. She had carved many on the slab herself. But she was never late, she knew her duty. She didn't let the past grab hold of her. She took the past in as experience and learned from it. She didn't let it consume her. She didn't let it define her like Kakashi did. Of course, she respected him, but he knew his place. Most of the time he just refused to see it. She let herself skim down the list of names. She found her father's, Minato Namikaze. She found her mother's, Kushina Uzumaki. They died saving people. Her father, the village, and her mother, the hospital. Even though her mother was weak after childbirth, she still got up and healed the people coming in from the battle lives. She saved over 30 lives at the cost of her own. Sometimes Naruto wondered if it was worth it. Her mother died to save those people, and most of those people hated her daughter with a passion. But her mother knew that she was going to die. She did train a little as a medic for a while. So, Naruto guessed that she wanted to do something good before she died. Her mother never even thought about her daughter after Minato took her. All she thought about was saving those people. Naruto knew this because her mother confessed it before she died to a medic who asked her. The young girl had always had her suspicions about the truth of what happened, as that was one thing that Kyuubi really didn't want to talk about, her mother. Naru knew that one day she would find out if that was the true way her mother died. Naruto let a light small smile grace her face. None of that matters. She had grown past that long ago. She felt many approach, but they all just stayed away. Some knew her because of those that trained her, others just walked away. The only one who stayed was her new sensei, Kakashi. They both just stared at it for hours, just thinking, breathing in the silence. Until he broke it. Who? He asked. Just one word, and yet it was more than enough. My mother, my father, she said, sensing him still even more. Friends, teachers, but no lovers as of yet, I'm afraid. Comrades, fellow ninjas I knew but didn't know, and of course there were some I hated. Kakashi laughed lightly at the last one. He looked up after a few minutes. It was after 10:30. We need to get over at the training ground if you're going to pass your test. Hi. They walked, it wasn't that far, in complete silence. It seemed Kakashi understood just a little more about his new student, yet was thrown into the dark even more at the same time. The way her voice spoke, not only did she know who her parents were, but she had people she cared for die. The older man had a feeling that she knew the pain of being the only one left behind. It explained why she was like she was. No words were spoken before they arrived. Sasuke said nothing as he watched them walk toward the field together. He knew where they were coming from. The young Uchiha felt the air around them filled with sorrow, but now it changed, no longer sad. Sakura wisely said nothing, even though she knew she could have said something that would have made the girl, who made fun of her, laugh. An add-on to the joke she said yesterday about Kakashi-sensei, but there was a chance that Sakura's sensei wouldn't like it, so she didn't say it. Naruto looked like she is paying attention to Kakashi's explanation of what was going to happen. Thankfully, Sakura had learned to keep stupid questions to herself. Naruto knew how this would play out. They were going to fail because Sasuke felt like he had to do everything alone, and Sakura was just plain weak. So it was up to her to put this together. This was such a drag. First, she made a Katai Bunshin and switched with it using Kawarimi before Kakashi finished talking. Being an Anbu, you had to learn to make sure when you used chakra that no one can sense it, if they can it's your life. So Kakashi had no clue. He wouldn't expect this from a genin, so why have his guard fully up? Naruto knew that if Kakashi were in Anbu mode he would have sensed her, because he was familiar with her chakra and jutsus. Her real self was in the bushes waiting for Sakura. First, she would use her Katai Bunshin to distract Kakashi and Sasuke while she stole away Sakura. Then she would knock some sense into the girl, grab Sasuke, and take out the bells. It didn't take long before the test started. Quickly and quietly she put Sakura under a genjutsu and took her away. She left a cage Bunshin disguised as Sakura, so as not to arise suspensions. Once they were away, Naruto released the genjutsu and told Sakura to shut up in a quiet voice. "I will explain everything if you're quiet, okay?" Naruto whispered. Sakura nodded. "This is a cage Bunshin, it's different because it's solid. My real self is distracting Kakashi. You realize what this test is about, right?" Naruto lied through her teeth about the first part. Sakura thought for a moment, putting the bells together with the fact that he was a jonin. "There is no way we can win." Naruto shook her head. "That isn't the true test. One of the rules of the shinobi, look underneath the underneath." She paused as she got some information from the countless Bunshin that Katai Bunshin made. Kakashi hadn't figured it out. Naruto had only a few minutes before the Katai Bunshin got caught in a trap and Sasuke would be next. "So, it's a test of teamwork, isn't it?" Sakura asked, knowing she was right. "Sakura, listen to me, I am being really serious here. Your future is on the line. Are you listening?" Sakura nodded again. "You have to be serious. You can't keep on chasing Sasuke. Sasuke hasn't paid attention to his fangirls before and he won't start now. He hates them as much as I do. You're smart, not as smart as Shika, but pretty good. You're not that strong, but that's Sasuke and my job. You will be strong though, no doubt about it. Are you ready to be serious?" Naruto asked. They didn't have much time. Kakashi just threw the Katai Bunshin in the lake. Sakura understood, though it hurt. If Sasuke liked strong Kunoichi, she was going to be one. She nodded to Naruto. "What do we do?" she asked. Naruto smiled. "Traps, of course, I have a Bunshin already setting them up. It will take him a few minutes to get out of them. Then Sasuke and I will fight him while you get the bells." That made her pause. "Will Sasuke help?" Naruto smiled. Sakura almost fell backwards. That wasn't a nice smile. "He will." The Katai Bunshin got the message once the Bunshin with the traps was finished. It made a few last Bunshins and lured Kakashi to them. Then, once Kakashi was a step away, the many Bunshin, except one, disappeared. Kakashi assumed that the one left was the real one. But it was a cage Bunshin. The Katai Bunshin dispelled itself, and Kakashi never knew. Later on, he figured that the real one got away, but since there was so many he didn't see it. The real Naruto had just got Sakura into place. The only thing left was Sasuke. "You realize that you can't pass this test without us, right?" Naruto whispered from right beside Sasuke. Sasuke didn't move. He had heard her coming after all. It wasn't like she had tried to be completely noiseless. She had wanted him to know she was coming. Sasuke had moved locations once he saw Naruto thrown into the water. "So another cage Bunshin?" he asked. She shook her head. "Kakashi is fighting those. I snuck out." She lied about the last part, but who was to know? There was no way a genin could do a Katai Bunshin, let alone know what the hell that was in the first place. The only one who knew how was Kitsune, the leader of the Anbu. And she kept that secret close to her. "Smart," he smirked. "And yes, I realized that about the test once you pulled Sakura away." Naruto gave him a fox grin. "This will be easier than I thought. I got a plan. Sakura is in place now. Are you ready to fight beside me against Kakashi? He frowned at her. So that's your plan? Distract him with us while Sakura gets the bells? It's not going to work. Naruto chuckled evilly. Sasuke almost took a step back, but Uchihas don't do that. She will, just wait. Come on, Teme. We have a Jonin to distract. Dobi. As if on cue, after Kakashi finished with the traps, Naruto and Sasuke jumped him. He didn't have time to read his perverted book as he took on the two genin. He had to admit that they were a good team. But the test was for all three of them, not just these two. It seemed that Naruto and Sasuke adapted to each other's fighting style easy. For Naruto, it was just getting used to a little Itachi again. If one was thrown back, the one would quickly jump back and mirror the other. Both sides were attacked at the same time. They were in step with each other. Kakashi knew that if they trained together for a few years, they would probably be an unstoppable pair. Of course, he underestimated his cute little genin. When he wasn't looking, for he thought he had thrown Naruto in the tree, Naruto did a jutsu. Sasuke saw her and immediately started his fire jutsu. Kaden. Gukakyu no jutsu. Sasuke took a deep breath and released his jutsu. Kakashi didn't expect Naruto to hold on to him, not letting him go. He tried to do another kawarimi, but that jutsu Naruto did on him wouldn't let him. So the only thing he could do was jump, with Naruto attached to him. But he grabbed her and dropped her off in a tree, while he sat in the next one. That was close. Sasuke would have barbecued him. He turned to look at Naruto, and she just disappeared. Cage Bunshin, Kakashi thought. He turned his attention to Sasuke, and was amazed to see him swinging one of the bells around his finger. Sakura, next to him, just held her bell up and smiled. So he was wrong, they did all work together. He looked around for Naruto, but couldn't find her. Yet, after he finished looking around, his eyes went back to the other genin, and there she was. What did you three do? He asked. They knew what he wanted. He wanted to know how they got the bells. You were busy trying to get away from the fire that you didn't notice my bunshin. Naruto said. Sakura giggled. You didn't notice me either. I was a few trees over, hiding. Once you jumped and landed on the tree, I used chakra strings and grabbed the bells. Naruto and Sasuke did a good job distracting you until I could master it. Kakashi blinked. You used chakra strings? And I didn't sense them? Naruto nodded and jerked her thumb towards Sasuke. He put too much chakra in his fire jutsu, and I did use one on you, myself. Kakashi put it all together now. That was why Sasuke's eyes lit up. You placed the Gyaku Kawarimi no jutsu on me, didn't you? Naruto nodded. Found it in a book a few years ago. I'm just glad that Sakura had read about the chakra strings. I told her a little about them, but I was afraid it wasn't enough. Kakashi laughed. I was outsmarted by genins. I wonder what Fox-sama would think of me. I shuddered to think. When they were not in Anbu form, they changed their names a little. She called him Doggy and he called her Fox. Naruto just smirked and played along. I don't think this Fox, whether a guy or girl, would think so kindly of you when they find out you were beaten by 3 genin. You're a special Jonin Kakashi, we expected more. Naruto smirked. Kakashi shook his head. Trust a kid who gets trained by fellow ninjas to know how things were done. He knew that Naruto was behind all of it. But something was off at the beginning. He had a feeling he lost before he even said go. Oh well, they had a few months left. He wondered if he would put them up for the Chunin exams. He knew Naruto was ready, but the other two. He guessed with Naruto on their team, they both would improve. Look at Sakura, hadn't she already done so in the course of this test? And Sasuke willing worked with them. Yes, Naruto would be the glue that held this team together. But he didn't know that the glue would disappear. Where is Naruto? Didn't someone tell her yesterday that we had a meeting today? Kakashi, the copy ninja, asked his 2 genin, skipping the excuse of why he was late. This wasn't the first time Naruto wasn't here, and it wouldn't be the last. Sakura shrugged. She wasn't at home when I went to tell her. Aren't sick people supposed to stay at home? And she gets sick a lot, you know. Sasuke rolled his eyes. She came by like 20 minutes ago. She was wearing something weird. But she told us she had to see the Hokage, but would meet us there. There? Kakashi asked stupidly. He hadn't told any of them they were doing mission today. Sasuke glared at his sensei for being stupid. We always do missions on Tuesdays. If we weren't going to, don't you think the Hokage would tell her? Kakashi scratched his head. Of course, well let's go. Naruto had slipped up with that genin team. She was wearing her Anbu uniform. Unlike what she wore when she masqueraded as a genin. As a genin, she just wore black pants and a black shirt with her symbol on the back. Of course, she didn't go anywhere without her fishnet shirt that had long sleeves. Since she didn't like the scandals, she had mini boots on. Unlike the ones that went up to her knees she wore as an Anbu. They now had seen her with her Anbu outfit on. She only prayed they didn't say anything about it to Kakashi, or he really would figure it out. She almost forgot to take off the henge and her mask. But she did, at the last minute. She knew if she wore a skirt, then Kakashi would realize what was happening. He was already getting suspicious. It was amazing with all the clues she left, purposely of course. He didn't realize who she was or what she doing. But who would suspect the Kyuubi brat of being someone ranked higher than a genin? Hokage-sama, Kitsune said, for she had her mask on as well as her Anbu uniform. They were having an emergency meeting in his office. No doubt minutes later they would walk to the mission debriefing room together. The mission was a success. The assignation went according to plan. The Amato gang is no longer among the living and terrorizing that village. No one in the Wave Country suspected a thing. I made it as clean as possible. Sarutobi nodded, he wanted it that way, which was why he asked her to do the mission. How did you get rid of the evidence? I burned it all down with the most basic of fire jutsu. Good, good. Your genin team will be meeting here in 10 minutes. Would you like to look over some of the C-rank missions and pick one? Kitsune looked up, that was her cue to become Naruto Uzumaki again. She released the henge she had placid on herself. She took out a scroll and sealed her mask, as well as her Anbu uniform. As she put that one up, she got out the scroll that held her genin outfit. The whole time the closet pervert Hokage kept his eyes glued to the mission requests in front of him. The last time this happened, the first time during her genin mission he had asked her to do an S-rank assignation mission for him. He had looked, it was an accident of course. But after she beat him up, he didn't do it again. He now knew what it felt like to be Jiraiya. Once she was finished changing, Naruto grabbed the C-rank missions folder. None of them were particularly interesting, but she had liked her brief trip out of the village. She always was out of the village. There was one about escorting a bridge builder to the land of waves. Of course, she was the only one who had read in between the lines. She knew all about Gato. This mission was going to be interesting, and far above C rank. She had been wanting for a while to test those two genin out. For in the 2 months they had been together they had gotten stronger, but was it enough for the Chunin exams? Those exams were in 3 weeks. This mission would help a lot. I want the escorting one, she checked the time. We have like 2 minutes old man. You don't to become Kakashi. The Hokage laughed. They walked down a flight of stairs and took the door to the first door to the left. Why would I want to get beat up by you? Being late is just like saying, Naru-chan kicked my butt, and I do want to live to an older age thank you. Naruto shook her head and stood in the center of the room, waiting for her team to get there. She only had to wait a minute. We're all here, old man, so can we have our mission now? Naruto said so casually that no one would have suspected that she had just discussed and picked the mission she wanted or that she had just come back from an assassination mission. Iruka was about to chew her out, yet again, on proper manners when dealing with the Hokage, but Sarutobi raised a hand. I think 30 D-rank missions are enough. I have a C rank for you all. Hokage decided, and before anyone said anything, he went on. I have thought about this all night. Team 7 is our best rookie team. I think an escorting mission will be good for you. Naruto yawned. She didn't get any sleep for the last week. She could have gone on longer, thanks to her Anbu training, but she just wanted to show it. She wanted to make the Hokage feel bad. He would blame this on himself. He had sent her on 10 A rank and 7 S rank missions since she started her genin mission. And he had told her himself that this was the time to rest. So he did feel bad. That is what you get Naruto for not being home and resting when you're sick. Sakura lectured, but inside she was worried about her friend. Her friend had been sick so much during the 2 months they had been genin together. 17 times she had missed training, because when she wasn't there, they couldn't do missions. Sasuke knew something was up. The young Uchiha knew she was healthy as a horse. And how almost every time she was sick, she had been to see the Hokage. Something was fishy. Of course, when he asked Kakashi, his sensei told him that Naruto didn't really have a guardian, and the Hokage was like her grandfather. He was the closest thing she had to a family. There, he had a connection to her. Besides being too powerful to be a genin, that was obvious. She was alone. She understood the pain. He saw in her movements, her ninjutsu, her taijutsu, even her genjutsu. He saw it everywhere, in her words mostly. Sasuke cared for her. He still remembered that he was going to get revenge, but he still cared. Sakura was a different story. Uchiha knew she had gotten stronger, but she still didn't matter all that much to him. All she was to him was a teammate. Just like Kakashi was only the Jonin in charge of his team. They knew nothing, and they never would. Sasuke knew she wasn't sick, but out doing something else. He would find out, but not today. Maybe he would wait till she was asleep like last time. She was deep into sleep during one of their missions that she was mumbling. The Avenger, who was on guard duty, found out she was having a nightmare. He asked her some questions after he helped her though Uchiha didn't get anything but one question before she started to wake. He asked her what her nightmare was about. She told him, all her nightmares were the same. All about death, people dying in front of her eyes and she couldn't save them. Sasuke was knocked out of his thoughts by what looked like a drunken old guy telling everyone his team wasn't worth a shit. Oh please, if we aren't worth a shit, then where does that leave you, drunken old guy? Naruto asked mockingly. The old man did a double take with her. The look in her eyes didn't match her voice. Her eyes told him she had seen more than her fair share of shit. Her eyes showed him similar things that he saw in the eyes of people in his village. He gave her a nod. When she returned the nod, she told her team she would meet them outside the west gate in 10 minutes. She even gave Kakashi a warning look that said he better get there on time. Her team was surprised at how easy it was for her to take down their client. But that was nothing. They all walked away from Konoha in silence. It was a comfortable one, which was rare around the team. Though, 3 out of 4 loved the silence. Sakura couldn't stand it. As they got about 2 hours away from the village, Naruto almost stepped into a puddle of water. Immediately, she doubled her guard. The blonde Anbu captain had to think of a way to tell Kakashi without alerting the enemy. She smiled as a solution came to her. Hey, Scarecrow. She called to Kakashi who was walking a good 30 paces behind her. Do you like the rain? I love it. Too bad it hasn't rained in so long here. It makes me kind of sad. Sasuke, who was in between Kakashi and Naruto, knew that that was a signal from her. Whenever she just started babbling, she was actually warning them. He continued to look at the ground. There, 5 paces in front of him now, was a water puddle. So their first big battle as a team, What was that kitty? I didn't think kitties liked water. Aren't you supposed to run from it? Team 7 had nicknames for everyone. Naruto was Kitty, Kakashi was Scarecrow, Sakura was Cherry, and Sasuke was Raven. But only Kakashi and Naruto used those names for each other. When Naruto wanted to mock anyone, she used those nicknames. Sakura giggled as she thought about it. She wasn't aware that at that moment, right behind her Kakashi just got ripped to shreds. Sasuke cursed, which drew her attention. She turned around and screamed. Then she caught herself and took out a kunai and moved to stand in front of the client, Suna. Naruto and Sasuke immediately stood back to back waiting for the enemy to reappear. As soon as they took out Kakashi, they disappeared into the bushes. Oh ho, ready my little raven? Sasuke chuckled. Why would the raven let the kitty show him up? Naruto tensed as a warning to Sasuke. Water and fire attack. Sasuke looked in front of him ready. It didn't take long before the 2 enemy ninjas attacked. As per Naruto's warning, they attacked from the east and west. That meant that they were attacking and killing Naruto and Sasuke out first, before the client. Sasuke pressed harder against Naruto's back, just like she did to his. 2 seconds and they would both be sliced. She barely touched his left leg with her right, and then she did the same with their other foot. He smirked, they had a plan. 1 second. Naruto threw herself to her right, while Sasuke threw himself to his left. As if they were opposite twins they moved in unison. As soon as the enemies were where the 2-leaf ninja were seconds before, the genin shifted throwing their bodies in the opposite directions they have dived moments before. Naruto and Sasuke each took out a miniature sword and took a slice at the enemy. Both enemy ninjas got a good slash in their backs. And before the 2 enemies could recover, both Naruto and Sasuke cut off the hand that the chains linked together. Then they took a kunai out just as quick and pinned the other hand to the ground. Their enemies couldn't attack now. They took their mini swords and held it to the throats of their enemies while waiting for Kakashi to pop back up. It didn't take long. Ooh, the kitty and the raven are destined for something. Good job, guys. Naruto and Sasuke rolled their eyes. Kakashi said that every time they showed how good they can work together. Naruto walked over the shaken-up Sakura. She put her arm around the girl's shoulder and told her she did a good job. Sakura had become a charity case for Naruto. She wondered what would happen if Sakura trained with Anko. On second thought, the horrors. Sakura already had wicked strength when it came to her punches. If Naruto had to guess at the perfect sensei for Sakura, it would have been Tsunade. Konoha would not see Tsunade unless the third was killed. Kakashi then got all the information he could, without torturing the demon brothers of the mist, who would do that in front of a client and 3 genin. Of course, one of the genin had had her fair share of torture. It all depended on the people for her. But torture wasn't her forte. Anko, though, loved it. Kakashi informed Team 7 and the client that a Konoha shinobi would be by soon to pick up the 2 ninja. But he was mad at Tazuna for lying to them. Come on, Chicken Sensei. Let's just get this mission over with. Who cares if the rank goes up? We do have you after all as the Jonin, don't we? Naruto said, hinting that she knew his other rank. Kakashi turned toward her. The look in her eyes, yes, she knew he used to be an Anbu. After all, it's it good to have someone in the bingo book as our sensei? Naruto egged Kakashi on. Fine, we will continue on, Kakashi sighed. Naruto was the only one who could do that to him. After they got off the river and into the land of waves, Naruto shot the kunai out into the bushes. Damn, I hate Kawarimi, she muttered. Sakura didn't hear her, for she was a little ahead with the client. She found the rabbit though and was chewing Naruto out. If it wasn't for Naruto and her speed, both Sakura and the client would have been dead. That sword came out of nowhere. If it isn't the copy ninja Kakashi, the enemy started but was cut off by a shrill yell. You are a freaking asshole. How dare you make me get dirty? Naruto said, annoyed, but she stopped when she took him in. Oh damn, you're Zabuza Momichi. Zabuza chuckled after he got over his momentary shock of a genin yelling at him. I can't tell if you're stupid or not, kid, for cussing out the enemy before you know who they are, or for being afraid of said enemy. That caused Naruto to laugh. Why would I be afraid of you? Just because you're in my bingo book? That stunned her teammates and Zabuza. You're just a ninja who has a big-ass sword. She trailed off before she got that wicked fox grin on her face. You do know what they say about compensation, don't you? Zabiuza? She said his name with a husky tone to her voice. Sasuke and Sakura just busted laughed along with the client, while Zabuza and Kakashi face faulted. Be careful, Zabiuza. You don't want to fall out of the tree with your big sword, now do you? Naruto called. She did the same thing with his name as before. That got her teammates, minus the Jonin, and the client laughing again. Kakashi was trying with every ounce of self-control he had not to laugh. Kakashi just gave Zabuza a look of pity. I'm sorry about her. Then he cupped his hand to his mouth and said a bit too loudly, I think she's a little insane. Zabuza gave him a look of disbelief. A little bit? Are you off your rocker too? Naruto grinned. The only people worth knowing and playing with are the ones who are insane. Kakashi froze as he heard that. He had heard it somewhere before. But he didn't have time to worry about the thing she said, because Zabuza chose that moment to act mature and start attacking Kakashi. With Kakashi fighting with Zabuza, Naruto took control. She grabbed Sasuke, pulled him close, and whispered quickly. If Kakashi gets killed, we run. If he gets captured, we double team him. She let him go and took her position in front of the client with a kunai in her hand. Her 2 teammates did the same. The whole time she was keeping an eye on Zabuza and Kakashi. Fuck, she muttered when she saw the hand signs Zabuza was doing. Guys, we are about to have no eyesight, the enemy is doing a misjutsu. Kirigakure no jutsu, Zabuza called out. Guys, look out. My bet would be he is coming for us. Naruto said through her teeth. She was mad. If only she could go all out. It didn't help that he was saying stuff that was scaring the genin and the client. She already knew about the points of the body he was talking about. She knew them by heart. She was a master of the Sarento Kiringu as well, but she couldn't do anything. She was a genin here. She was not an Anbu Black Ops captain, nor was she someone who could fight on par with Zabuza and Kakashi. She closed her eyes and listened. She heard 5 heartbeats, but heard something move through the mist that didn't have a heart. So he had a bunshin, did he? But which type of bunshin? Was it a Mizu bunshin or Cage bunshin? It didn't matter though, for they were the same. They weren't her Katai bunshin, so she didn't need to worry. Then she heard the moment and turned around with her kunai swinging through the air. She hit something, and all 3 genin got wet, along with Tazuna. Oh, please za biu za, a Mizu bunshin? You injure me. Do you not love me enough to come over here by yourself? Naruto called, knowing that her teammates wanted to laugh but were too scared. She had to do something about that. Kakashi, I'm bored. Can you kill him and get it over with? Naruto called to her Jonin. I'm working on it, kitty. This mist isn't helping me. Kakashi told her, his voice sounded annoyed as if he was working on it and it wasn't doing right. Naruto sighed. You can't get rid of it? You disappoint me, Hitaki. Her voice was cold at the end. Kakashi flinched. It sounded like someone he never wanted to hear that from. But it couldn't be. It didn't help his thinking process when a sword out of nowhere attempted to cut him in half. Naruto did the hand signs. She didn't rush through them though. All it took was 5 hand signs after all. It wasn't much. Gyaku. Kirigakure no Jutsu. Within a total of 5 seconds the mist was gone, and the genin saw Kakashi getting impaled through the chest with the sword Zabuza was using. But it was a Mizu bunshin. And the real Kakashi appeared from the right and slashed the Zabuza who killed his water clone. It was another one. Naruto was getting mad. Stop using so many damn water clones. Zabuza chuckled. If you say so, little girl. Little girl? Ooh, if only I wasn't acting as a genin, he would find out just what this little girl can do. A bunshin of Zabuza kicked Kakashi in the chest while Kakashi turned toward his genin. Kakashi went sailing through the air toward the lake. Naruto's eyes narrowed. She found the real Zabuza, and he was doing a jutsu she didn't like. Sweden. Hitoya no jutsu. Naruto groaned inwardly. This was no helping, this was not helping one bit. Now, she could slip up and everything would all go to hell. But she wasn't alone. Sasuke touched her shoulder. She wasn't alone. And neither was he. Run, leave me here. His Mizu bunshin can't go that far away from his real body and he won't let me out. Take the client and leave. Naruto gave him a look that told him he was really dumb. Extremely stupid. The moment you got caught, it was impossible to run. Sasuke replied sharply. Naruto shook her head. What happened to your speech about, only trash leave their friends behind, or whatever? Was that just pretty words, Hitaki? Her voice was harsh, but the words made everyone pause. And then before anyone could blink, Naruto was off with Sasuke by her side. First, they would charge him and try to beat him. If that didn't work, she had another strategy in mind. The punches and kicks went flying, and so did Naruto and Sasuke. So it's plan BEH? What fun. I wanted to test that jutsu out. Dang it, I can't. Naruto thought as she summoned 30 or so Cage bunshin. But then she had another thought that threw that one out the window. There is no way a lowly genin would come up with a jutsu like that. It seems I will have to stick to that water one I learned from that toad. Quickly, Naruto transformed one Cage bunshin into bag and herself into a giant shuriken. Another bunshin took both and put her into the bag. With the force of Zabuza's giant sword, the bunshin that had the bag was thrown back. Sasuke catch. The Naruto bunshin cried as she threw the shuriken, that was really Naruto, at him. He caught it, paused a second and then switched it while grabbing his. Calling the attack's name, he threw it at Zabuza. It bypassed the fake one and went straight for the real one, who jumped over it. Then it transformed into the real Naruto. Naruto quickly, not too fast, did the hand seals for the next jutsu she used. Sweden. Teppodama no Jutsu. The water bullets flew straight for Zabuza, who had no choice but to let go of the prison he had Kakashi in. Trying to get away from the A and B rank techniques used, Naruto almost forget that a genin couldn't walk on water. She drove under the water and used her charka to quickly get her to the shore. When she climbed out, Sasuke was there pulling her to her feet and dragging her back toward Tazuna and Sakura. They watched as Kakashi played mind games with Zabuza. After that, it didn't take long for that hunter nin to take Zabuza away. Kakashi, Naruto said seriously as she walked up to him. Hi? He replied. Besides the fact that you're about to pass out, that wasn't a hunter nen you just gave him to. Kakashi sighed as he fell forward. I know. Naruto sighed herself as she watched him fall. She gave Tazuna a questioning look. You're going to carry him? We are but small children. How could we carry a full-grown man? Naruto said in a child voice. Sasuke and Sakura shook their heads with a smile on their faces. Tazuna glared. Those eyes. They came back during the fight. But now they were gone. They just looked tired now. She was a manipulating child, but she knew pain. Naruto took a few steps and almost collapsed herself. Damn it. This is what happens when I play Genin. My body starts forgetting the training I put it through to keep it in top shape. It doesn't help that I am used to an older body. So it's either my fault for using an older body or my younger body is forgetting its training. She thought about it for a second before Sasuke noticed something was wrong. I kept my real body in good shape, just like the older one. Then it dawned on her. It was because she was used to the older body doing battles like this. That was why it was taking her time to adjust. Naruto, you okay? Sasuke asked before Naruto collapsed herself. It didn't help that she just came back from an assassination mission either. Today, boys and girls, or should I say boy and girls? After seeing the look he was given, Kakashi went on. We will be doing chakra control today. You will climb up this tree with no. Naruto didn't care. Something was wrong with her. She suddenly was so tired, and her stomach was, oh, she knew what it was now. It was her time of the month. She had heard Anko and Yugo talking about it before. That was why she collapsed before. Her body was going through puberty, and she was straining herself with those S-rank missions, plus her Genin 1. She was so tired, she almost forgot not to grab that kunai and throw it back at Kakashi. That was one of the training they put you through in the Anbu Corps. If someone throws a kunai, you grab it and throw it back. She was going to have to be careful. Her instincts were going to start taking over and then she would be screwed. Naruto, did you hear me? Start, she heard Kakashi say. Naruto rolled her eyes. And do you think I don't already know how to do this? Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Your previous teachers taught this to you? Naruto blinked at him. He was so slow. You know, Kakashi, that I have a massive load of chakra. So before I can learn jutsus and all that good stuff, my chakra control had to come. This and the water walking was part of my training. Then why didn't you do it before? Naruto rolled her eyes. It was the heat of battle, and I didn't have an excuse ready. I forgot a lot of stuff. Well, I don't know what to teach you then. Seeing as your pervious ninja teachers did such a great job. Nice jutsu before. Where did you learn that? Before Kakashi realized it, Naruto was already gone. For 3 days Naruto spent training her younger body back into shape. Sasuke had found her ready to almost collapse before he dragged her back to the house himself. Naruto was eating, she was happy. But then that stupid brat Inari had to go and start grumbling about something or another. It just made her mad. Kid, she said, when he looked at her she told him to shut the hell up. If you are going to sit here and cry and whine and bitch about how life is unfair and all that stuff, and you're going to do nothing about it. You're better off dead, now go die. This world has enough useless losers running about taking up space they shouldn't be. Sakura tried to tell Naruto to shut up, but Naruto got up and started walking to the door. She stopped in the doorway. If you're going to do nothing, then you shouldn't tell other people how to live their lives. You're being useless, kid, your words are useless. So your father figure died. Cry, grieve for him. But I think after a few years it's time to stop crying. Stand up for what you believe in, because no one else will. She turned around and gave him a sad look. Her eyes looked so heartbroken, so cold, and so dead. There are times when you have to stop crying about how your life sucks. Things happen, but that doesn't mean you should let it stop you. Crying only gets you so far. Crying shows you're weak. And whining like a little bitch about how no one beat so-and-so, or how so-and-so is going to die isn't going to do anything. If someone wants to fight someone, let them. If someone wants to die, let them. It's their choice. Like it's your choice to keep sitting here like a pansy and cry, or get off your butt and do something about it. Just like your father did. To say everyone was shocked by her words were an understatement. Her speech was negative like she always was, but this time it was deep. Sasuke agreed with her. It wasn't like he hadn't told himself something similar when his clan got killed, and so did Sakura, but Sakura didn't like how mean she was. Kakashi didn't expect this from a genin. Maybe someone Jonin or higher who had been a ninja for many years and seen death, but a genin? Then he remembered that day they were looking at the memorial stone. My mother, my father, she said. Friends, teachers, but no lovers as of yet, I'm afraid. She knew the pain of losing those dear to her. And she knew the pain of doing nothing about, but just watching. He wondered how many times she told herself those things. He wondered how many nights she lay crying to herself because she had no one to love her because the Kyuubi, the demon sealed inside of her, had killed them. Kakashi saw Inari sitting on the dock. He sat down beside him. What Naruto said to you was harsh, but I think she told herself something like that over and over. Why? Kakashi paused for a moment. Naruto grew up without a mother and father. She grew up without a family at all. No grandparents, no siblings, no one. She had to raise and feed and clothe herself. Really, she had to do everything by herself. It didn't help that everyone hated her. Why? Kakashi paused for another moment, wondering how to tell this part. Naruto always wanted to be acknowledged. She wanted people to pay attention to her. No one ever did. Most of the time, it was like she never existed. So she got attention however she could. Pulling pranks, that kind of stuff. It wasn't the good kind of attention she got, but she got attention. She stopped once she became a ninja, a genin. Inari didn't say anything, he just sat there in silence. For her pranks, some of the villagers would try to hurt her. So there were some ninja who had to watch over her as a child. I was one of them. When she was little, she used to cry herself to sleep every night. But look at her now. She's stopped crying. She's strong. She grew up. Kakashi told him. Naruto, growing up the way she did, became a realist. She has seen how harsh this world of ours really was. So she tends to be a little negative. In her own way, what she told you was harsh, but she probably tells herself worse things every day. Sasuke went up to his room after that. He didn't need to hear anymore. He knew for a fact that Naruto only did pranks when she was little. But Kakashi said she did it for years, until she became a genin. What a load of bull. Naruto, to be honest, he only remembered her when he was little. He had wanted to play with her before, but once his mother caught him he never went near her again. But after that he saw her running around doing those pranks. But after she was like 5 or 6 it all stopped. She disappeared. So what happened between then and now? Sasuke had a feeling she was training to be a ninja. But in all those years, she only got to be a genin? That felt wrong. Naruto had destroyed too many trees to count in her rage. She had thought she learned how to control her emotions long ago. But it seemed that some things brought them out again. Due to her condition, her training her body relentlessly, and how exhausted from all the missions she had done lately, she passed out. She woke up when she felt someone coming near. She didn't want to move. But once a hand came near her throat her body took over. She grabbed the hand and twisted it till the bones started popping, but not breaking. A steady, neutral voice said, "You can let go of my hand now." Naruto didn't open her eyes, nor did she let go. "You can try not to strangle me in my sleep. I was trying to wake you up. A forest is no place to sleep." Naruto snorted as she opened her eyes. She saw a girl, no a boy. This boy looked familiar. Oh, he was that hunter of course. Of course you were, and I am a hunter ninja. They locked eyes then. Steady clear blue eyes against non-wavering dark brown eyes. "What do you want?" asked the boy who looked like a girl. Naruto didn't grin or smile at her when. "What's your name?" The boy paused before he spoke. "Haku, you?" Naruto grinned then. That rhymed. The look on Haku's face wasn't one who thought it funny. Naruto mumbled something about people have no sense of humor. "Naruto Uzumaki, the way you dress makes me think you're from up north. Snow country or somewhere near the mist perhaps?" Naruto asked. Haku got out a kunai quickly, but it was knocked away with a wave of Naruto's hand. Naruto barely lifted it off the ground. "How did you do that?" Haku asked stunned. Naruto sat up. "I am a wind mistress, you I am guessing have a Kekai Genkei." Haku sat back at that. How did this girl know so much about him? Was it just by looking at him? Naruto read his face quite clearly. "I know because there was a tiny rumor going around that the demon of the mist got an apprentice who was the last of his bloodline. I haven't heard anything of the sort. How did you?" Naruto shrugged. "I was up a little to the west of here a few days ago. There was a gang terrorizing a village a few hundred feet away. They thought telling me a rumor about a demon ninja around would save them." Haku understood then. You are after Zabuza-sama, aren't you? Haku knew that if this was true he was going to die. Naruto shook her head. This was just supposed to be an escort mission. Why am I telling you these things? They sat there in silence for a few minutes. We are the same. I believe we are. Naruto sat up straighter. Tools for killing, that is what we are used for. We are whether we want to kill others or not. Haku nodded. What more was there to say? No one spoke. Naruto and Haku were both thinking about the same things. I want to save you. But if we fight, then you and Zabuza will die. Haku, knowing that Zabuza would pair the genin up with him during the final fight, and since Naruto was acting as a genin, then he knew he would die. What is your Kekai Genkai? Naruto asked curiously. Haku blinked, totally forgetting about the sudden death talk when he looked into Naruto's curious eyes. Ice, Haku started before Naruto interrupted. Oh, I read about that one. The demonic ice crystal mirrors, that would be handy if you're fighting a lot of enemies at once. But it depends on how strong the target and prey are. You could defeat me then? Haku asked. Naruto was quiet for a moment. You are an apprentice to an ex-Anbu ninja. I am an Anbu captain. You're so young? Haku trailed off. Naruto laughed. Yes, but when I am in Anbu mode, I have a jutsu that will make me older. Now about saving you and Zabuza in a few days, will you let me? Haku didn't have to think. If she could save Zabuza then everything was alright. But he forgot one thing. Gato. What about Gato? He is paying Zabuza-sama. Naruto laughed at that. Do you really think, me, someone who has done assassination missions for years, can't kill some mob guy? With that said, Haku led Naruto to Zabuza, who Haku prayed would accept. No, I don't see why, was Zabuza's reply. What's in it for me? Besides, what you say is my life. How do I know you're not playing us? A child, in Anbu? With that, Naruto sighed. In a matter of seconds, Naruto's left hand was forming a kunai made of wind. Then, not even a second after, she had it pressed against his neck. I am a wind mistress. Someone who has total control over wind, and you doubt me. Should I tell you who I am? Should I tell you my Anbu name so you will tremble in fear? Naruto asked. Her voice had gone all cold and hard. Zabuza didn't even see her move. She was indeed a mistress of wind. But he was curious. What is your name? She let the wind kunai go as she said. Kitsune, fitting name for me I suppose. Zabuza and Haku both choked. Of all the Anbu names, she had picked that one. Kitsune was rumored in all bingo books to be one of the most powerful of all Anbu throughout the ninja world. And this girl says she is her? I am the vessel of the nine-tailed fox, Kyubi. So why should I not be a weapon? All other Jinchuriki are. I was just trained earlier and harder. The missing ninja and his apprentice took all of this in. But it didn't explain something. If you're an Anbu, why are you playing genin? Haku told me you weren't sent for us. So if that isn't the reason, why are you here? Naruto paused at that. It wouldn't hurt to tell them. She did need allies after all once everything was all said and done. She had plans that she would fulfill, but that would take a while. First, the Hokage would have to die, but even if that happened it wouldn't been until almost her 20s till she did her thing. We had no idea you were here. It is not our job to hunt down other villages' missing ninja unless we are asked. I am playing a genin for a mission. There is an alliance between two villages against Konoha. They will strike during the Chunin exams. I was the only Anbu around the age, so I was chosen to participate and gather information. Zabuza laughed at that. I get it, but what has this got to do with you not killing us? Who says we can't kill you and Kakashi and the other brats? If you are Kitsune after all, I can kill Haku easily. I am a master of the Sarento Kiringu, just as you Zabuza. Once I became an Anbu, I became Kakashi's superior. I trained him. I am stronger than him. After I kill Haku, I will then kill you. You can't defeat both of us. Naruto said emotionlessly. Haku knew that it hurt Naruto to kill people. Just like him, but he wasn't going to say anything. If we do this, what will we do? Gato is paying me. Zabuza trailed off. Naruto smirked. I will kill him before then. The battle for the bridge will be a show. That morning I will track him and kill him. So you two still have an excuse for coming. Why? Haku said. He was confused. If they killed Gato now, then why should they fight? I have a teammate, the boy Genin, who is an Uchiha. I want him to have the Sharingan. I believe before the final alliances are made, whoever will be behind the attack at the Chunin exams will want Sasuke. So he is bait, so to speak. It hurt her to say that to someone who she had become close to in these last few months. She was a shinobi, she was an Anbu on a mission. Her village came first before personal relationships. That's harsh, Zabuza chuckled. And Haku told me he cared for you so. Those words made Naruto flinch. She didn't want to hear that Uchiha was falling in love with her. It would just remind her of what almost happened with Itachi. I will need allies after everything is said and done. I need strong ones. Sounds like someone is trying to kill their Hokage, Zabuza mocked. Naruto snorted. No, if I will be Hokage it will be the 6th, not 5th. But when I get there, I will need people I trust. Hell, I need allies I can trust now, especially during the Chunin exams. There is a spy, probably more than one in my village. So you need spies in this other village. Is that what you're asking of us? Zabuza mused. Naruto shrugged. I wouldn't place limits like that. Zabuza thought it out. He could tell Haku liked the girl. That wouldn't be the only reason he agreed to something like this. Plus, something was off. He didn't know what. He was forgetting something. Oh yeah, what if he betrayed her? Who says we won't turn on you? Reveal that you, a little girl, are the legendary Kitsune? Not that anyone would believe us. Naruto gave him an evil fox grin. He almost flinched. There is the fact that I will kill you if you betray me. The Kyuubi does live inside of me, and for some odd reason it is fond of me. And it hates those that betray me. It hates betrayal the most. Add those to those 2 reasons. I will save your lives in the upcoming battle for the bridge. Zabuza knew when he was beat. At least Haku would be happy. Now Haku, about the Sharingan. She sent a Katai Bunshin with her team, but she left a Kage Bunshin at the house in case Gato wanted some insurance. The Katai Bunshin was all a part of the plan. When she got to Gato's compound, she found that he was in fact planning on betraying Zabuza. He was gathering together a mass of mercenaries and was going to send them to the bridge. But he hoped that most would die before the end. He told the ones in the room with him, she heard 6 total heartbeats, that all he had to do was make one final call. He would wait a few more minutes before he started getting them together. That was her chance. She snuck in there, cutting off all of her emotions and her heart. The blonde Anbu captain was back, and the genin who could afford to let her heart show was gone. She took out one of her swords. That was in her right hand. In her other hand she was gathering charka. She applied it to her feet, just like Sasuke was doing somewhere else, and swiftly cut the throats of all 6 men, no monsters. She cleaned off her sword, put it back into the scroll, and walked out. She gathered more charka and decided to do a big fire jutsu to burn the place down to the ground. Kaden Ninpo, Habashiri. But just as quickly as she sent that one she sent another jutsu into it. Though, technically, it wasn't exactly jutsu. It was just her wind. Her wind made the flame grow higher and hotter. Instead of hours, it would mean minutes until the fire consumed the buildings. Sasuke knew he was screwed. He couldn't keep up this for long. He was going to die from multiple holes in his body. Damn those Senbon needles, the young Uchiha thought as he tried to dodge another Valley Haku sent at him. Where is Naruto when I need her? We could destroy him together. That made Sasuke pause. Since when did he need someone else to beat an opponent? He was strong, just as strong as her, so why did he think he needed her? Needing people made you weak. He wasn't weak. Uchihas didn't need anyone. If he wanted his revenge, that would happen alone. The Avenger didn't need anyone's help for that. Naruto felt the Kage Bunshin poof out of existence, both of them. Inari had saved his mom, with a lot of help from Naruto, then he went and ran off to get villagers to help. It was the other one that Naruto had trouble with. She didn't like the way Sasuke looked. She hid herself. She shouldn't care how he looks. At least he was alive. Haku knew what was happening and what to do. Within seconds Naruto was at the bridge. She used more of her charka. She only had so much left due to her new restrictions. A few more jutsus and she would be out. Naruto quickly slipped into the mirrors. Haku paused. He was about to send more Senbon needles out. But he stopped. Naruto was here. Why are you stopping? I thought you were going to kill me? Sasuke asked. He was getting annoyed with all the, I don't want to kill you, and, please give up, bullshit. Naruto would have called him a pansy if she was here. Stop grabbing Sasuke. You shouldn't tell people to kill you. They just might do it. Sasuke turned around. Naruto. She was here. Why now? Why not sooner? You're late, Dobi, was all Sasuke said. Naruto huffed. Please, I was being heroic. By doing what? Sleeping? Sasuke snorted. Naruto was about to snack him upside the head, but stopped knowing that she would end up hurting him a lot. No, for your information, Gato sent some thugs after Inari and his mom. They almost killed Inari and took her away to do God knows what. Sasuke stopped his retort. You killed them, right? Naruto gave Sasuke a grim smile. Of course. Haku felt sorry for her. By saving himself and Zabuza, she ending up killing 2 others. I'm sorry, Haku said before he could think. Naruto nodded. She understood. They both did. That was something Sasuke could never understand. Sasuke understood a lot about her, but at the same time he knew nothing about her. Haku understood. Sasuke knew he was missing something. But the look on her face, he didn't want to know. So you realize you messed me up now, right? Sasuke said, breaking the tension. Naruto looked confused. I messed up what? Now I have to protect your ass, it was hard enough before. I will ask you once more. Will you stand down? If you don't, I will have to embrace the shinobi way and kill you. I don't want to do it. Why are you doing this? Naruto asked. Haku wasn't surprised at her sudden questions. They had talked about this beforehand. To protect someone precious to me, to protect his dreams, Haku replied. What about our dreams? Do those not matter compared to your precious person? Naruto countered. If you give up, both of us can have our dreams. Sasuke didn't like this talk. He felt, again, like he was missing out on something. Call it a sixth sense or something. Naruto could have sworn that Sasuke had some type of Uchiha sense or something, or at least one for Itachi. Anytime Itachi or the Uchihas were mentioned, he would start looking around or at whoever said it. Creepy. We won't give up. You want to kill the bridge builder, we can't let that happen. Sasuke said. Then I have no choice but to embrace the shinobi way. Haku said sadly. Even if he was playing the part, he still didn't like it. And the look on Naruto's face told him the same. With that he launched half of his needles at them. Naruto was blocking, but to play her part she didn't block but 1/4 of them. She started breathing heavily. That wasn't a fake though. Sasuke saw it. Naruto, are you okay? Did you use all your chakra on those thugs? Naruto fell to one knee, her head bent low. Damn, dodging and getting hit are taking too much of my power. Damn girls and their periods. If I had known that this would happen I would have tried to be a boy during this mission. Before, when she hanged at the older kitsune, she didn't have to worry about her period. But now? She wished she had paid more attention to her friends when they talked about it. There was a reason why Genin started when puberty started. It didn't help that this was her first time. Naruto, are you okay? Sasuke said as he stood next to her, blocking some of the needles, which became less really fast. It seemed Haku didn't know what was going on. Naruto collapsed. He became scared that he had hit her somewhere that could kill or damage her. But it was her plan. She told him if she ever went down, to throw them at her. Sasuke would awaken the Sharingan to protect her. And Sasuke did. The boy grew so desperate, mostly after Haku gone, and said, was this the first time you had seen a friend die in battle? It helped that she had fallen and looked like she was dead before he had said that. The ice-wielding ninja waited until the blonde Genin had fallen before he said that. That set Sasuke off and he awakened his Sharingan. He had not even noticed that all through the battle he got closer and closer to seeing Haku's movements. The Raven found the real Haku and punched him. Haku dodged the hit, but made like it seemed he got hit. Sasuke looked down at Naruto, who had started trying to get up. He really didn't want to kill us. Sasuke thought as he collapsed. At least she is safe. Naruto caught him. She noticed that Haku had thrown a senbon needle into Sasuke that put him in the death-like trance. She laid him down. Thanks, Haku. Haku nodded. Let's get Zabuza. Kakashi had the Chidori up and running. He was about to shove it into Zabuza when Naruto and Haku ran in front of him. Kakashi was beyond shocked and stunned. Though Zabuza was not, he looked perfectly normal. Took you long enough. The demon of the mist growled. The idiot almost broke my arms. At first, hearing and seeing the Chidori made her freeze, bad experiences and all. But Haku noticed as soon as her body tensed and sent some ice chakra into her body to shock her. Zabuza grinned, but didn't say anything. Naruto laughed to cover up her moment, and it worked, as Kakashi didn't notice. It's hard killing a mobster, then killing 2 thugs who try to do God knows what to an innocent woman, and then coming and helping the Teme fight his battle. So it's done? Zabuza asked. Naruto nodded. Gato is dead. Zabuza nodded and turned to Kakashi. Guess there is no more fighting. He gave Naruto a nod to tell her that he remembered what he was supposed to do. Then he and Haku left. Kakashi gave Naruto a confused look before they walked back in silence to where Sakura was crying over Sasuke's body. Sasuke's dead? Kakashi asked softly. He was again too slow. He had lost another comrade. Sorry Obito. Naruto didn't say anything, but squatted down next to Sasuke. She took out a few of the needles and he was breathing again. He never wanted to kill us, Naruto said sadly. Sasuke opened his eyes and looked at her. I know. He never aimed at our vitals the whole time. Did you defeat him? Someone came and told us Gato's dead. It seemed Zabuza had someone else helping him. They just left Sasuke, but congratulations, Naruto said weakly. Passing out for a few seconds wasn't enough to get her energy back. She was afraid she would pass out before she told him. What for? Sasuke said weakly. He didn't win the battle. For your Sharingan of Ko. She didn't even get to finish because she passed out. And that was the mission report for the Land of the Waves, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi looked at his most excellent shinobi and nodded. So this someone, a woman with purple hair who was 5'7", came running toward Haku and you before you killed him. She said Gato was dead. She was to watch him while the battle at the bridge was fought to make sure Gato was double-dealing. She said he was dead. You and Haku ran toward your superiors and stopped their fight telling them. Hi, Hokage-sama, Naruto replied. She didn't want the Hokage knowing of her deals with Zabuza and Haku, so she did a tricky jutsu when Kakashi asked to talk to her privately before they left. She erased his memories and planted the ones that correspond with her story. If the Hokage asked her if he noticed it, she would have told him that Kakashi found out too much too soon about her identity. He would accept that, never thinking his favorite Anbu, his favorite ninja, was lying to him. Good job on mission. Kakashi will attend a meeting about the Chunin later today. Be prepared. Hi, Hokage-sama. Naruto was on her way home when she felt something. Sakura. She immediately changed her direction and ran as fast as she could toward her teammate. Naruto, after the bell test, did a jutsu that allowed her monitor her teammates' emotions. If they were ever in trouble and she wasn't with them, then the jutsu activated. Sakura had felt really angry, but then she changed to being scared shitless. It didn't take her long to get to where Sakura was, and a few other people. Naruto landed on the roof next to the street they were currently occupying. There was a guy with face paint, who was from Suna, and had what looked like a mummy on his back. Naruto knew it had to be a puppet, maybe more than one, and the foreign shinobi was holding the Hokage's grandson by the scruff of his neck. She wasn't going to let that stand. She grinned evilly, manipulating grin this time. I would let him go if I were you. Naruto's voice rang out clear down on the street. Everyone on the street looked straight at her as she jumped down. I don't think so. I don't see why, especially since he needs to be taught a lesson in manners. The mummy guy told her gruffly. Fine, do what you want Kankuro, but I am not getting blamed, the blonde girl with a fan strapped to her back said as she took a few steps back. Glad you approved Tamari, Kankuro snorted. Naruto sighed dramatically. It wouldn't do well for the Hokage to find out that a visiting sand shinobi, who is here in his village on peaceful terms, was fixing to beat his grandson up. Kankuro froze. Naruto had him, but she wasn't done yet. No, there were more mind games to play. If anyone in power found out, the case cage for example, what you're doing to a helpless child, well, you would be an embarrassment to your village no doubt. No village would want you, Naruto paused as she thought about it. Some would, but I doubt someone like you would want to go there. Kankuro narrowed his eyes at the blonde leaf shinobi. I can't tell if you're insulting me or not. Naruto shrugged. Take it how you will. I know the tanuki hanging in the tree will. I don't think he likes what you're doing. Naruto watched as the two sand shinobi froze in terror as they looked at the tree. It seemed they didn't sense him, neither did Sasuke who was sitting in the tree beside the redhead who was hanging upside down. How did you know? The tanuki asked as he disappeared and reappeared next to her in a wave of sand. Kankuro immediately dropped the boy who made a beeline to hide behind Naruto. Konohamaru threw his arms around her and shook uncontrollably as he held onto her with everything he had. Gaara, I was just playing. I wasn't going to hurt him. Kankuro stuttered out. Shut up or I kill you before you embarrass our village even further. Gaara coldly told his brother. Naruto had read a report about the Case Cage children. She knew their powers and skills, the ones that they showed. After all, good shinobi did not show everything they could do. But Gaara, what interested her the most was that he was a Jinchuriki just like her. Maybe that was why she got this weird feeling inside of her chest. It felt like Kyuubi was moving, wanting something, but it was different than all those other times before. I know for sure it isn't bloodlust or anger. It's something I have never felt before from Kyuubi. Gaara felt the same thing. It was like when felt Shukaku stirring before, as if the Biju was wanting this Kunoichi's blood. But it wasn't like that. It was a different feeling. It was a different wanting than blood, something he never felt before. She fascinated him. It unnerved all the ones watching them. The two Jinchurikis looked at each other as if the other was the prey. Your eyes, Naruto finally said softly. That made Gaara blinked at her words. My eyes? You suffer from insomnia, do you not? Gaara didn't have to nod. They both knew he did. His eyes was all the proof anyone needed. You look like a raccoon with your eyes like that. But I'm not making fun of you. It's a wonder my eyes do not match yours, with all the sleep I don't get. She laughed bitterly. Damn fox must be doing something. She muttered quickly and quietly. Gaara barely heard it. Watch it, kid. I am the reason why you have no bags and winkles under those pretty eyes of yours. You shouldn't be so mean to me, especially since it's because of me you don't show signs of your tenant being inside of you. Whiskers don't look good on girls. And if I was a boy? Whiskers for a guy would be character defining. She mentally rolled her eyes at him. She was thankful for that, very thankful. It helped with both her forms that she didn't have whiskers. It made it harder for the Kyuubi haters to find her. She picked Konohamaru up and set him on her right hip. He buried his face into her shoulder, while clinging to her with every ounce of strength he had. He was still scared. Gaara watched her walk away. What's your name? He asked the first loud enough. Why can't you sleep? He asked the second one so quiet that no one could hear if they didn't have sensitive hearing. He was half afraid that she wouldn't hear his last question. But she did. Naruto Uzumaki, she said loud like him, but added quiet enough that she knew his ears, and only his, would hear as she walked off. Nightmares of bloodbaths I started. Nightmares of battles fought by a tool who doesn't like what she is. When Naruto got to where Konohamaru's friends were standing, they clung to her as well. They were scared for their leader, their friend. Naruto's empty hand clenched and then she let go of it. She sent a breeze of wind toward Gaara who was about to leave. Her voice rang softly in his ears, we could be free. Gaara couldn't look back, no, he wouldn't let himself look back. They left, on toward their hotel. Naruto was using her free hand to calm down the other two kids. Come on, let's go get some ice cream or something, Sakura said, trying to help Naruto calm them down. Naruto nodded and agreed. They walked by the tree and Naruto looked up. Sasuke was giving her the weirdest look ever. His eyes were on the child in her arms. She gave him a small smile. I used to babysit him. I can't help he loves me, said. Child's grip tightened its hold on her. Don't make fun of me, boss. You know you love me as well, and when we get older we will get married. Konohamaru said as Naruto rolled her eyes. Please, you have to defeat me before I will marry you. And you can't even beat my Wai no Jutsu. Naruto teased as Konohamaru blushed fiercely. He then jumped out of her arms, forgetting why he was there in the first place. Konohamaru jumped onto the wooden fence near them. I challenge you, boss. Here, now, and when I win you will be my fiancé. Naruto's eyes laughed at the child, pointed a finger at her. She noticed that the two with him groaned. Naruto shook her head. Fight me when you are out of the academy, brat. Konohamaru huffed and glared at her. His two friends then distracted him with the ice cream. Sakura, who was greatly amused at what was happening between her teammate and the kid, helped with the distraction. Naruto took a deep breath and calmed down so she wouldn't burst out laughing at the kid and lower his self-esteem any more than she had already. She noticed that Sasuke was looking at her weird. It's because he hasn't seen me laugh and happy like this before. You can't help it when that old man's kid comes around. You have a soft spot, kid, maybe you should marry him. Please, I am way too old for him. If I was going to marry anyone it would be someone who understood me completely, that we wouldn't need many words to understand the other. We would know what the other felt without speaking. So basically, what you need is someone who knew what it was like to be you. Someone who understood the pain of being a tool. Yes, that is correct. Then Kit, that means you have two options. That is if you want someone you know. Oh, and who are they? Itachi or the Jinchurikua of the Ichibi. But I doubt you would find someone who understood you more than a Jinchuriki. Naruto didn't reply back to her demon. She didn't want to acknowledge his words. Instead, she focused on the Uchiha in front of her. You want to come? Naruto asked, keeping that small smile on her face that had somehow stayed on her face through her quick, maybe 3-second, conversation with Kyuubi. Naruto knew that the meeting her team went to was just Kakashi telling them he entered them into the Chunin exams. Old news. But she still went, got her form, signed it and gave it back to Kakashi and left. All before the middle-aged pervert could leave, because she knew that the lazy ass would leave and make them take their own forms. It was probably because of her actions that got her team to sign their forms and walk off. Tomorrow was the start of her real mission. The first exam of the Chunin exams, it was the written test. The goal of the whole test was information gathering. For Chunin went in scouting missions and missions to get information. It was a laugh, she was doing everything the Chunin exams tested during her mission. Irony was a bitch. The exam was tomorrow, so she should have been getting her rest. She couldn't sleep, though, but that wasn't new. Naruto probably got less than 10 hours of sleep a week, less if she was doing a string of missions. Gaara was here. The mission was changing. Gaara and everyone in the sand knew he was past Chunin level. Hell, that whole team, the Sand siblings, were maybe Jonin level at the most. There had to be a reason why they were here. Then it struck her, the attack. Why not use someone who could change into the demon, one that was sealed inside of them? That raised the question. What were his siblings doing there? Of course, that was simple, after she gave it a second thought. Most people thought family could keep family under control. It wasn't the older two that were in charge, it was Gaara. Only an idiot couldn't see that. This was just a guess, she would observe tomorrow. She had intel that the spy would make the first move during the exam. Naruto still liked her theory of Orochimaru coming to get Sasuke. And there was a new ninja village that sprung up not too long ago, Oto, the Sound Village. If Orochimaru was indeed the cage of that village, then he was allied with another village to help bring us down. If Naruto's sources were correct, the one she saw after she left her team, then Sand was gathering forces. But no one was moving yet. Naruto guessed again. Oto was allied with Suna and they were waiting for something. The question was for what? Naruto casted those thoughts out. She would think about it later, after the second exam. The Hokage was right, there was no sense in guessing. It made her paranoid. And if she wanted to do her best in this mission, then she need to not be paranoid. However, she knew she was close. She was so close to finding some answers. Naruto heard the almost inaudible cry of a bird. So, her spy was sending her a message. She knew for a fact that one could not hear that cry, unless they were a Jinchuriki or a host of a demon had used a jutsu to let them hear it. Naruto had used that jutsu on no one in the village, because Itachi had left of course. Gaara, on the other hand, would be a problem. Naruto opened and jumped out of her bedroom window and onto the roof of the building next to hers. She jumped from roof to roof, making her way toward the Hokage faces. That was when she saw them. Anbu. They were on high alert because of the Chunin exams. She remembered the last time Konoha had hosted it. She was on triple duty the whole time. The blonde Kunoichi found an empty house near her position and transformed into her adult form. She took out her scroll and switched clothes. She had this routine down packed so that she did the switching in less than 2 minutes. Lastly, she took out her mask. Her hair was a thing that was different to both her forms. Her adult form she had it high up, tied in a tight ponytail that ended at her waist. In her genin form, however, she had pigtails, kind of like what Tsunade wore. She did always love Tsunade's hair. Now that she was in her Anbu adult form, she held her mask. She hadn't been in this form for weeks. This form was a lie, but it felt good. In this form, she was so sure of herself. She knew her limits, what she could do, and, most importantly, what she couldn't do. Since she almost never was her in real, younger self, she didn't know its limits. What she could or couldn't do in it. That was the problem with her other form. Soon, she wouldn't need her other hanged self. Every chance she got, she had to train, try to test her body out. But now was not the time. She had to go get that report. She put the mask on, she now was complete, and in total Anbu mode. She jumped from roof to roof not stopped by anyone, which surprised the one who was watching her. Gaara saw her. She was caught. He had seen her change, but for some reason she didn't care. He was smart enough to know by the reactions of the Anbu running around the village that they knew her and wouldn't touch her. Of course, there was the option of her just masquerading as one, and not really one. But Anbu would know that she was a fake, for they were the best of the best. Wouldn't they? Gaara then watched her move, so swiftly, so gracefully. Yes, she was used to this. Her body was trained for this. She was indeed an Anbu. But why was she acting like a genin? Why did she look like a genin? Which was her real body? He heard it again. That noise that shook him out of his thoughts, and she was heading straight for it. The redhead noticed that the first time, yet the Anbu didn't even hear it. They didn't go near it. They still didn't hear it now as Naruto ran toward it. He wondered what it was. He was the human vessel for the Ichibi, the demon raccoon of the sand. His senses were enhanced. Gaara had great hearing, which was why he could hear her before. His eyesight improved greatly at night as well in the day. The bird had a scroll attached to its leg. Judging by the way Naruto stopped when she first heard it, she wasn't expecting it. Therefore, Gaara could conclude that it was report of some kind. If Gaara had to guess, he would say from a spy. She feared no one. He saw that in her movements. She knew her power and how to use it. She was the perfect tool. She was someone who didn't like herself. Gaara could more than empathize. She knew pain, he knew pain. Her eyes told a story he knew oh so well, for it was his story. But one thing he knew was different for both of them. Gaara was a Jinchuriki, and as far as he knew she wasn't. She could be, but he had heard nothing of one in this village. Anything was possible. The male Jinchuriki should have known that. Gaara remembered the words she sent to him on the wind. That told him two things. She was a really an Anbu, for there were no genin could be a wind master or a wind mistress. Even his sister, Tamari, wasn't one. She would be one day, if she could survive long enough. The second was that she was just like him even more. She could help him. He could help her. Together they could break free from who they were forced to become. They both were not satisfied with what they were or what they were becoming. They could change themselves, history, everything. If what was on her mask told him who she was, then they could do more than break free. He was taken out of his thoughts when she put the scroll inside of her coat. She made a motion with her hand and an Anbu was in front of her, kneeling on one knee before her. So, she is a high-ranked Anbu. I wonder if my guess about her mask is right. He was too far away to hear the words they were saying, but he saw that the other Anbu nodded and went off. The still redhead only had to wait a few minutes before that other Anbu was back. The Anbu gave her a folder. Naruto nodded and the other one left her. Naruto took out a scroll so fast and sealed that folder up before he could blink twice. She's fast. I wonder what else she can do. After that thought she saw him, everything clicked for her. Naru was calm. She didn't betray herself to her emotions. The blonde's emotions were cut off. Without wasting a second, she did a few hand signals and the Anbu were gone. Gaara wondered if she was sending them after him. It wasn't like he was going to tell anyone about her secret, but he knew that she didn't know that. He knew about the alliance between Suna and Otto, but wasn't sure if she did. He wasn't sure about lots of things when it concerned her. This was something new to him. He was used to the two reactions, kill or leave alone. But this one was totally different. He didn't want to kill her or leave her alone. While Gaara was lost in his thoughts, she came toward him. But his body knew, or Shukaku did. And that shook him out of his thoughts. Where did they go? Gaara asked the Anbu woman in front of him. The Anbu you mean? The woman answered. Her voice was different than Naruto's. More mature, silky, deeper, but Gaara could hear some of Naruto's voice in there. They went to patrol outside the village, and some went to do missions I assigned them. When Gaara thought about the differences between the two voices, his mind turned to Tamari. He almost laughed to himself. The answer was easy. Is this the older you? He asked as his eyes looked her up and down. Does it matter? Kitsune quickly countered. Her voice, like his, betrayed no emotion. Gaara shrugged. It's your secret, change yourself how you want to. He looked up at her. But remember, these two bodies aren't the same. I wonder can you handle the younger one as easy? Naruto wanted to hurt him. How could he spend less than 10 minutes watching her and know so much about her? when it took her years and months to figure out the difference between the bodies. He was a great observer. That trait came with being alone a lot. That, plus having a trait for being quiet, so he really was like her. I can tell you're not going to tell anyone. You don't really care, Naru stated slowly, more for her benefit than his. Gaara didn't feel like he needed to tell her she was right, when she knew she was. But he did have a question for her. Who sends you messages with a bird that gives off a call so low? Only those who have really advanced hearing can only hear. Kitsune took him in. He was a lot smarter than he let on. No doubt because he watched more than he exercised his mouth. It was a very good trait for a ninja to have. And when he asked questions, there was no dodging, just straight into the point. A spy, but already you know this. You're smart enough to figure out if an Anbu is sending messages to someone who isn't their Hokage. It has to be a spy. She let him absorb that, before she went to the nitty-gritty news. It seems a missing ninja from this village is indeed coming back. But he has allies. Gaara just gave her a blank look. Obviously you know who it is. Why you are asking me? He paused as he thought for a moment, as it dawned on him. You don't know for sure, you're guessing at who is in the alliance. Another statement that didn't need to be confirmed. It seemed that statements were really common during their conversations. Except the first one, that was to gather information. Do you want to know? Gaara asked. Kitsune really took him in this time. The gourd on his back no doubt was made of sand, and had sand for him to use at will filled in it. His eyes showed he never really slept. Living off the energy the one-tailed demon sealed inside of him gave him to live with. His outfit, she liked it. He was a mix of brown and dark blue, it almost looked like black in the night. He had the bottom of his legs wrapped. He had a black shirt that had sleeves to his elbows, but toward the end, about a finger's length was fishnet. Of course, she didn't like the white scarf thing that hugged from the middle of his waist and slashed across his chest. It was his hair that caught her attention the most. Red, the color of blood. His eyes drew her attention as well. They were a light blue color, while her own were bright and darker in color, but he couldn't see them because of the mask. He was just an inch taller than she was in her genin and real form. She wondered if that inch made him weigh more than she did. But weight never mattered to her. The enemy could be 1,000 pounds, or 10, and still put up a good fight. Your eyes? Gaara started, but was unsure how to continue. Kitsune titled her head, showing she understood. Haku had told her the same thing. She had found 3 other people whose eyes were like hers. First, Sasuke, but that only went so far. Haku was second and he understood far more than both of them let on. And finally, Gaara, who understood it all, for they were vessels. Something she knew he didn't know about her. Itachi was something else entirely. Your eyes, before she went on she stopped. The wind had swept past them. She closed her eyes. She loved it when the wind went for her. The pleasure of its touch felt good. That and how complete it made her feel. When she opened her eyes, she saw a mark on Gaara's head. She sniffed, yep, just like she thought. Dried blood etched into his skin. That symbol was carved into his head. Your head? When did someone carve that into your head? She asked softly. Gaara wondered if he should continue to talk to her. They had already said too much and they both knew it. They had said too much from the beginning. And yet, here they felt compelled to say more. I was 6 when I carved that into my head. The redhead teen waited for her to be disgusted with him, but he had forgotten who she was. He had forgotten the pain that they shared. The pain that brought them together. She would understand he knew it. I was betrayed by my caretaker. He tried to kill me. Why? It was because I killed my mother, his twin. Gaara told her. She rolled her eyes. I killed mine as well if you're going to put it like that. But you don't see me tearing myself down because of it. To be more than honest, she never really thought about her parents. She never really cared about them. And she wasn't going to start now. Even if it was her fault that her mother was weak and knew she was going to die when she started healing the other people in the hospital or when her father died to save his village but condemned her. Gaara was surprised, but didn't show it. So, they were alike even more. They were so much alike, the only thing that stood in the way was the being a vessel of a demon. He had more tact than to straight out and ask her. It was orders from my father. The sand protected me, and he still died, blew himself up. Then I carved it into my head to always remember. I can only love myself. I can only trust myself and I can only rely on myself. Naruto didn't say anything. She understood that just as well. She never carved love into her forehead. but she did crave the kitsune on herself when she grew bad, years ago. I craved a vixen on my back when I was 8, blue eyes and voice grew distant as she remembered. My best friend, someone who I loved dearly and trusted, was ordered to do something that destroyed him and is still destroying him to this day. I craved it in my back to remember who I was. And yet, I don't want to be who I am. I have been killing myself slowly since I was 6. Now, 6 years later I am almost dead. Kitsune took a few deep breaths to dispel the images and memories that rose to her mind when she said those words. That night changed everything for her. That was when she started taking her duty too seriously. She always made sure everyone in her team made it back alive and that she spared them as much as she could. And since Itachi, she never loved or trusted anyone that much. The night when Gaara was 6, and the night when Naruto was 8, was when they understood that they were alone and always would be. Anyone who cared would always be taken away in the most painful way possible. They were tools, and tools were never happy, they only caused pain. Kitsune sighed and leaned against the railing that was behind her. It didn't do to have pessimistic thoughts, she just threw them out. No doubt, they would return later. But at least for now, she didn't have to deal with them. The first exam is tomorrow, are you ready? She asked him. It doesn't matter, I will pass. I have to pass. Gaara replied calmly. They both knew what was written inside those words. What was in between the lines? Here she was, one of the greatest Anbu that had ever graced Konoha, and had found someone just like her. And she was going to have to kill him later. Just her luck, but at least she did have some luck. She didn't know it yet. She wasn't 100% sure if her guess was correct. She just prayed it wasn't. She looked to the crescent moon above them, feeling Gaara look as well. In 2 weeks the moon would be full. She couldn't wait. Gaara seemed to realize it at the same time she did. They shared a look. They both wanted the moon. Gaara had always seen the moon as something that was free. Kitsune and Naruto had always seen the rain as something that was free. They both wanted that with every fiber of their being, to be free. Is she here yet? Sakura growled. If she is late I am going to kick her. My what? You're going to kick my what, Sakura? I do hope you don't think you can take me down. Naruto asked as she came into view. This time she was her genin outfit. The blonde had a, now, black shirt, the purple one ripped too much during the Land of Waves mission. Black pants, which she cut off toward the end. She mimicked Gaara with the bandages wrapped around the bottom part of her legs. Of course, it was because she had burned them this morning. She was trying out a new fire jutsu and someone had to come along. So, her arms got burned as well. She had bandages wrapped around the full length of her arms, and she had a purple sash wrapped around her chest. It was a small one, but she wanted to stand out. She didn't tell anyone, but she had gloves in her pocket just in case she decided to really kick someone's butt with her fists. Naru knew that by the time the second exam ended, aka the Forest of Death part was over, they would be back inside her scroll. No doubt she would put them in there when they opened the 2 scrolls. Her Hite 8 was around her neck like always. The gaze on her legs could be seen going down into her mini boots. Her hair was in the same style as before, the 2 pigtails like Tsunade. She knew she was pretty, but she never let it go to her head. She grabbed Sakura and threw her arm around her shoulder. Come on girl, we have a Chunin exam to win. As they walked past Sasuke, who was leaning up against the wall in front of them, Naruto grabbed his hand, they were always in his pockets, and unhooked her arm that was around Sakura's neck and grabbed her left hand. Neither Sakura nor Sasuke minded. They weren't used to Naruto touching them this much. It had taken Sakura weeks to get Naruto to let her touch her. Therefore, when Naruto did touch either of them, they didn't flinch away. They were scared of what it might do to her. When they got close to the academy, Naruto let go of their hands and went and opened the door for them. It didn't take them long to go up 1 flight of stairs. When they saw everyone crowd around a door, Naruto was curious. What are they doing? Naruto asked her teammates. What do you mean what are they doing? Sakura asked. They're trying to get into the exam room. Though why they want to get into that one, I have no idea. Sasuke chuckled. They all are idiots. The guy in the green suit turned around and glared at them. I am not an idiot. Sasuke looked him up and down, taking in his spandex suit and his haircut. Dobi, what do you think? Naruto shrugged, she was leaning up against the wall now. You mean for not knowing that this is the 2nd floor? He and the rest of the people here are idiots. Except for, everyone nearby waited for her to tell them who weren't one. The genius trying to play mind games with them. Great jobs Twiddle-dee and Twiddle-dum. The two guys blocked the door groaned. The right one sighed. We told you, Naru-chan, we don't like those nicknames. The one to the left chuckled. Thanks for the compliment Naru-chan. We know how much it kills you to give one. Naruto scoffed. She grabbed the wrists of her two teammates and walked off. Wait, pink-haired beauty. Naruto let go of Sakura's wrist and spun her around. She turned her body halfway to the right, but still held onto Sasuke's wrist. He didn't really care if she held onto it or not, but it felt warm. He was more interested what the green Gaki wanted with his other teammate. Please, I love you, most beautiful beauty in the world. Please be my girlfriend? Sakura blinked. You think I'm prettier than Naruto? She tilted her head. Come on Sakura, we both know that is so not true. Naruto teased her. And you're flat. Sakura and a few others who heard face faulted. Sasuke was used to his teammates' perverted talk. He had accidentally overheard a conversation that Kakashi had with her over that stupid orange book. He was glad that Naruto was on the anti-orange book side. Nevertheless, he was also used to some comments that floated his way. And you aren't Naruto? Sasuke asked as he raised an eyebrow. That is what bandages are for, Naruto informed him cheekily, but she wiggled her eyebrows at him. Sure, if you say so, Sasuke snorted. If you want to find out, I'd be happy to enlighten you, my little raven. Naruto smirked and winked at him. Sasuke fought off a blush and scowled at her. Sakura, who was used to ignoring all the perverted talks her squad had, turned to the green spandex guy and looked uncertain. She is prettier than I am. The green idiot ferociously shook his head. You are 100 more times prettier. Sasuke couldn't help but sigh. He was on a team with idiots. Dobi, can we get going? Or do I have to drag you there? The raven said as he raised his right arm, raising her left hand in the process. While the green spandex bushy brows went crying in the corner because Sakura rejected him, Team 7 went to walk on but was stopped by the other male teammate of busy brows. You there, blue shirt. What's your name? Sasuke didn't even turn around, he continued to walk on. I don't feel like telling someone my name before you give your own. Naruto sighed really loudly. The dude who so obviously wants to know his new spontaneous crush, Sasuke, is Neji Hyuga. A year ago he was Rookie of the Year, just like you are now. The raven-haired teammate of mine, Hyuga, is Sasuke Uchiha. And the other girl is Tenten. Can we move on? If we're late, I am kicking everyone's ass. Naruto yelled that last sentence. After her first sentence, Tenten looked outraged. Sakura looked shocked. Sasuke sighed for he was used to this. Neji was beyond outraged, but kept it hidden. The two geniuses who held them up at that door gulped. I think that is our clue to leave, Twiddle-dee. You're right, Twiddle-dum. And with that they left. I swear, does no one believe me, when I tell them I will kick their asses? Naruto groaned. Fine Sasuke, do your thing, someone get their ass handled to them, and we will go, okay? Bushy brows, his name was Rock Lee, and Uchiha squared off. Unfortunately for her teammate, he was going to lose. He wasn't fast enough to beat Guy's student. Not yet, anyway, but that wouldn't for a long time. Though, with his Sharingan, Sasuke learned the move Lee used against him. After the scene that scarred Squad 7 for life, they went toward the room where the first exam would take place. If someone else stops us, I swear I will do my secret taijutsu move on them. Hopefully, it will be a guy. Naruto grinned evilly. Sasuke paled. He didn't like that look or her words, but when he put that last sentence together with the grin he knew what the move was. He just prayed she never used it on him. Yo! 2 seconds later Kakashi disappeared because of an injury to his groin. They walked right into the room, and as soon as they stepped out of the doorway Ino jumped Sasuke. Naruto didn't care, she left it to Sakura to defend him. Naruto went to stand by Shika and lean up against the wall. The new group she was in consisted of Shika, Choji, and Shino. That group said nothing because they saw the look of intense concentration on her face. She was checking the other teams out. Hinata was next to Kiba, who was laughing at the scene Ino and Sakura were making over Sasuke. Sasuke knew that Sakura's insane crush had dumbed down, but sadly there was still a little fangirl in her. It didn't take her long to find Gaara. He gave her a slight nod, which she returned. Naruto sighed as she watched a leaf ninja come up to the genin telling them to be quiet. There it was. The subtle integration of going up to the genin and getting to know them. Naruto looked to see who it was and where he was standing. It was Kabuto, and he was standing near Sasuke. She remembered the scroll she got from her spy. The spy is someone who puppet sent to spy on Snake. The spy helps the defected Snake with medical things. It seems he also helps with the body jumping jutsu. He takes care of everything the Snake needs medically. If she knew correctly, Kabuto was a medical ninja, an orphan, who was trained by a special doctor ninja. She had found her spy, but she was tossed out of her thoughts when she heard Sasuke speak. Rock Lee, Gaara of the Sand, and Naruto Uzumaki. Damn, he fell into Kabuto's trap. Save him then. You always like to save him. Shut up, I do not. I hate saving people. I hate weak people. I got that from you. That shut the Kyuubi up. Naruto didn't care about Rock Lee, but about Gaara she did. Sabaku no Gaara. He is a genin of village hidden in the sands. Damn, I don't have much on this guy. His skills are unknown and I have no idea how many D-rank missions he has completed. It says he has completed 12 C-rank and 3 B-rank missions. And, Kabuto gulped. It says he has come back from missions without even a scratch on him. His teammates are Tamari and Kankuro. He took another card out for Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki. Wow, this is really weird. I have virtually no info on this girl. It says she has complete more than 30 D-rank missions and the rest are unknown. Though it says she just got back from an A-rank mission with her genin team. She is the team captain of Team Kakashi, Squad 7. What the hell? He paused as he looked at it carefully, then he put more charca into the card and it showed her stats off the chart. That and her missions included a good number of S and SS rank missions as well as countless A rank. That and the fact that she was the container of the Kyuubi, and he was about to tell them too, but Naruto struck. She moved fast, but most of the rookies caught her movements. She had to be careful of the power level she used and gave off. She kicked him into the wall and held a kunai against his neck. He tried to move closer to the wall. You know, I could totally make fun of you for playing with cards, 4 eyes. It's like a girl's obsession with dolls when she is a child. Now, about me, I would keep it to yourself. If you don't want you cards to end up crispy. She whispered, making sure only he would hear her. I would keep my mouth shut if I were you. Why? He gulped. You have no idea what you saw on that card, none of it makes sense. And? You're not going to know. Or I will kill you. Got it? She said. Her voice was strong as the steel running through it. He nodded, and she gave him a smirk. Good, now have fun with your friends. She jumped back quickly so that sound wave that the sound genin sent her way wouldn't hit her. It hit Kabuto instead. She twisted in the air and landed in a crouch on the floor at the feet of her fellow rookies. Maybe you are troublesome after all, Shika said as he helped her to her feet. She gave him a thankful look as she rose. If anyone saw that card it would have been Shika. From where he was leaning he could have seen it. But she knew she could trust him. The fragile friendship they made that day a few months ago was worth a lot. Whoa, that was awesome, Uzumaki. Kiba said as he admired her. But she ignored him. You should probably go sit back down. The exam is about to start, and I am not sure the proctor will like seeing sound genin fight with Konoha ninja. Naruto smirked, but no one could say anything else because said proctor came in. Alright, you stupid babyface assholes, quiet down. Ibiki yelled as he poofed into the room. Everyone turned to him. He looked at the ones in the back. He saw her, the one he never expected to see in a genin exam. What are you doing back there? He asked. Knowing the sound would think he was talking to them, but his eyes locked with Naruto's. He was clever at covering up his words. She just gave her one of her fox grins. He had grown used to seeing the grin for years, and after she made Anbu he had rarely seen it. He had seen her a couple times in the torture and interrogation room, but her mask was always on and she was in her older form. Now she was in her real form. But why was she here in the Chunin exams? Unless she was undercover or something, though she could be here to help regulate it. But he knew it was the former. To take the Chunin exam, of course, Biki-kun, Naruto replied, ignoring the sound genin that was trying to quietly go back to his seat. Why else would I here? She tilted her head to the side. Their code, she would explain later. He shook his head, a small smile tugging at his lips. Even in a deadly S-ranked mission, for that could be the only one she would go on, she would be acting like it was nothing. He just hoped she would be okay. Now, children, it is time to begin the first test of the Chunin exams. I am Ibiki Morino, your proctor. That was when Naruto knew she was going to have to answer questions for her teammates. Shika, the smart lazy genius that he was, put 2 and 2 together. Iruka said she was taught by already existing ninja, and if she was taught by Ibiki, the Anbu head of the torture and interrogation unit, she was powerful. He wondered who else taught her. Naruto didn't pay any attention. She was going to pass this exam anyway. If Ibiki was here, there were only 2 types of tests this could be. There was a 10th question, one was an instant pass, the other an instant fail. She knew Ibiki, and she knew Hokage. This was the former of the tests. She had to pass, so they would help her in little ways. The fact that Ibiki was the proctor was a dead giveaway for that. But the thing with Kabuto, something smelled off. How could he have taken it 7 times and still fail? He was smart, she knew that. You had to be if you were a medical ninja. And, if her guess was right, a spy for Orochimaru. For that, he had to be strong. She was snapped out of her thoughts when they were told to sit. So, she found a sat and began writing on her test her explanation for Ibiki. Little Foxy wanted to play. So Grandpa Fox said yes, he told her to play with the other kids, but to be careful of the others. The others were mean. They would hurt her and the other kids. But the others are hidden, they are sneaky. So Foxy had to be sneaky too. Soon Foxy will catch the others, and go back to playing by herself. She found it hilarious that some were actually caught. Both of her twiddles threw kunai at people. One sailed right past her head. On instinct, she grabbed it and threw it back at him. She glared at him. Twiddle dumb, what did I tell you about throwing kunai at me? Naruto asked. He swallowed hard. If we're not fighting, don't. Are we fighting? She asked. He shook his head. Then don't throw any at me. But, it was for the guy beside you. I swear. Naruto sighed. Then you should have said so. Next time, don't throw it in my face. I kind of get confused as to where the kunai is going when it's next to my head. Before she knew it, it was the time for the 10th question. And just like she deduced, they passed. Of course, there were some who had questions, being the idiots that they were. Ibiki, after explaining, took off his hat and showed them where he got tortured. She remembered that. She was so mad that she almost left the village herself to hunt down that bastard. But Ibiki stopped her and reminded her of her duty. As soon as he put the hat back on and said, "Congratulations, you passed," Naruto yawned really loudly. Everyone turned to her. Ibiki, you spend so much time playing mind games that you find it hilarious to watch others react to how you played them. Many in this room couldn't see the manipulation. That is why there are too many people who passed. Do you really think our second proctor will like that? 26 teams have passed. Most would say that is too many. Ibiki laughed, she always played too. He didn't have to wonder where her love for playing with people came from. She got it from him and Anko. There was a crash then. The window broke and a big cloth ball was thrown through the window. Then someone was inside of it unrolling it while twisting, throwing kunai to hold the cloth up at the same time. Ibiki was out of sight. This isn't the time to celebrate. Alright, you stupid maggots, I'm Anko Mitarashi. I will be your proctor for the second exam, she said. Naruto sighed again, bringing the new ninja's attention to her. She loved Anko, from her attitude to her skimpy clothes, but after seeing her act out like this more than once, it became boring. Yo, what are you doing here? Anko asked, but quickly corrected herself. Oi, Ibiki, there are too many genin. Your test was too easy this time. Naruto nodded. I agree. I didn't even answer one question, yet I passed. Many of the Chunin and genin face faulted, Ibiki and Anko included. Naruto laughed at them. Anko adjusted her short skirt. Right, onto the second exam. Everyone meet me at training ground 44, the forest of death tomorrow morning. If you're late, you will fail. 9 o'clock maggots.
That's all for now. If you enjoy this video, then please like, share and do comments.